And hello, welcome to solo playthroughs. We're gonna do something different this week on the live playthrough, and then I'm actually gonna have the mic working from the first moment as opposed to 11 minutes in. So it let me make sure I actually did that before I get all cocky here. No, we got it. Mic is actually turned on. So here you go, guys. It only took me 2 years of live playthroughs, but we finally have attained perfection. Sort of, maybe, we'll see. Hello, Arcadi. How are you today? Yeah, Darkest Night Second Edition. I don't know if it's wise to do this live. I mean, this is definitely one of those games that you just get into some cycles at times where it's just like dragging because you're not making any progress. Sometimes you just cannot find the clues you need. I played two playthroughs getting ready for this. The first one, I was kind of stuck in that situation, could not find clues, could not find clues, could not find clues. Finally got the 10 clues I needed, and then promptly was just demoralized in a way that it just I wasn't coming back from. And then I had another one where I was really easily getting clues, but then I made a strategic error and someone died, and I was like, all right, I'm not even going to try to play this out. We'll just kind of save it for the real thing. So those are my warm-ups. I feel pretty good about these four heroes. All the heroes are just radically different. I think the most fun I had with this game was when I was learning each of the heroes and just seeing the care and love that went into the design. And I really mean love. I mean, I said this in my recorded playthrough that I think this game, more than any other game I own perhaps, just exudes just this really careful design and just the amount of heart that went into it from the designer in putting this game together. There is something really special about that. This is clearly some dude's like lifetime effort. I think that Darkest Night Second Edition was years in the making from the first edition. I'm gonna just kind of move this up as I talk a little bit here, um, and I think that's really cool. It's that I got a lot of nuance. There's a lot of fun little twists and turns, and the powers are all unique, and you get a ton of content. I mean, 29 heroes is just absolutely incredible, and it's hard to say I have like favorites because there's just so many of them, and they all when you're playing, like when you're playing Spirit Island, it's like I'm playing as Ocean. That's a very different game. Or I'm playing as Lightning. That's a very different game. I'm playing as Fracture Days. It's a very different game. These each hero, because there's four of them, because they don't really make that huge of a difference to the game from another hero. I mean, they do in a way how they do things and the flavor of them, but they only have one action each turn. There isn't a ramped up, like it's not like every character here is going to build up very fast. I mean, they might get one or two more powers each, and because of that, it's almost like you could throw in what any random four and you'll see some interesting combos, but no one really stands out to me as like, oh, you got to play as the Paragon, or you got to play as the Nymph, or I got the Acolyte, the Channeler, the Druid, and the Ranger here today. And it'll be, I think, give us a good chance to pull off a victory. I have still yet to pull off a victory that allows me to get three of these holy relics. If you don't know, there's three ways. There's two ways to win. One is you get a holy relic, which you're going to need to defeat um, the Necromancer in a fight. The other way is to get three holy relics and get them all back in the monastery. That second way to win requires 30 clues because you need at least 10 clues to get one holy relic. I have not gotten close to 30 clues in any of my playthroughs. I've seen a couple of cards that seem to make that doable, but they do it in a way that feels a little bit cheese to me. I'd much rather, I think just a personal preference, I just would rather let me get 10 clues and find a way to kill the Necromancer in a fight. I find that much more interesting. Now, to defeat the Necromancer, not only do you need to roll a 6 with the Holy Relic, and there's a lot of ways that you can mitigate that to make that possible, but you also have to make sure you have the Necromancer in a place where there are no other blights. The Necromancer will be putting out blights every round. If there's ever four blights in a location, instead of putting it in the location, he puts that blight in the monastery. If there's ever four blights in the monastery, you lose, or is it four blights in the monastery and you have to place a fifth? That's a good question. Oh, okay, cool. So the monastery can hold four, but if it has to get a fifth, you lose. So actually, I would have had more life in one of my playthroughs. Oh, I want to go back and replay it now. Arcades is like Nemo's War and Dawn of the Dead. Victory Point Games is one of the best publishers in my opinion. Absolutely. I definitely agree. I don't know if one collection needs all three, right? And I haven't played Nemo's War yet. I'm looking forward to getting the Ultimate Edition. I love Dawn of the Zeds. Dawn of the Zeds is a top three game for me. At least it was last year. We'll see where it falls in my list this year, which I'm going to put out next month. Darkest Night is a pretty far step behind in my personal feelings of the game. I think that Dawn of the Dead just does a lot more interesting things, and I just like the wacky, zany, zombie B-movie nature of Dawn of the Zeds for me personally. But this game is really good. Like I really do like this game. I just think there's more evenness for me. Like I know what I'm going to get with Dawn of the Zeds. That from game to game, I feel like I'm going to get the experience that I want. With Darkest Night, there's some games that have been awesome, but then there's some games that just really just feel more like a grind in a way that I just don't entirely love. Right now, I'm shuffling up the the Artifacts deck. I'm going to put that up off screen. The artifacts might come into play. We might see a lot of them. We might not. They were pretty important in my recorded playthrough, and that surprised me. So we'll see how that plays out. So I'm be curious to see what happens with all three of those games now that Tabletop Tycoon, has taken over all the Victory Point IPs. They did just Tabletop Tycoon is the one behind the Nemo's War reprint, but that Kickstarter has been slow to say the best, but it's hard to fault them too much. Honestly, a lot of Kickstarters have been slow in today's climate, with the shipping crisis being what it is. I think their communication could have been a lot better on that Kickstarter. It does seem like there's a lot of just a dearth of good communication, just kind of letting us know what's going on. But hopefully, I'll have that within a month or so. I really do look forward to that one. I understand that there is already Dawn of the Zeds expansion content made. I wonder if Tabletop Tycoon is going to package that and make a fourth edition or an ultimate edition of Dawn of the Zeds. I would probably jump on that because I love that game so much. Although, if they put it out now, I mean, you might not get it for 18 months, considering how Tabletop Tycoon is moving along here. So right now what I'm shuffling is the map deck. I took the 20 cards that have a yellow circle. For those who don't know, there are tons of different map cards. Now you can play with all of them. I find that chaotic. I've played it a couple times. I beat it once. That was enough for me. I enjoy getting the more specialized decks. And the one that I randomized on the playthrough I put on the channel, I did the entropy one, which has the every kind of global effect blight, and we'll get into the blights as we get through this gameplay. There is also hunted, overrun, and spiritual warfare. I randomized from those three because I didn't want to do the classic and I didn't want to do the simplicity, and I rolled a 1 or a 2, so I got hunted. Everything is out to get you in this subdeck filled with traps and detection. There are 20 cards in the map deck that's in play, and there will be 16 different blights. This is a sample map card, so Bayside has got all 20 cards that had a yellow circle right in that little area right there. This one does not, so this is not included, so I just left all the other map cards off the screen to the left, and now we have the hunted subdeck in play. The event cards I did already shuffle. The event cards will be pulling one a turn for each of the heroes here. We'll see how that goes for us. Some of them are helpful, some of them are important. I mean, it is important to get out different quests and stuff like that. Speaking of that, I will shuffle the quest deck. And in the one game was weird. I pulled a respite card like 6 times, but I found that to be kind of a struggle. Respite is, for those who don't know, is one of the only event card that basically says, oh, just reshuffle everything and you're fine. Don't pull another thing. There is another card, Renewal, that says shuffle the deck and pull another card. But Respite, I found, because I was just regurgitating cards so much, I just wasn't getting enough quests on the board, which wasn't giving me enough opportunity to fulfill quests, to further develop my characters, and or to find clues. And that I found very limiting, and it just made for a very long game that I wasn't able to get a whole lot done. All right, so this is going to go here. There are 2 other decks that I have like half buried behind my beautiful face over here. This is the Darkness deck. There is an insane amount of cards in this deck, and we will only see 2 in any one game. It's an incredible amount of content in this box. I just still blows me away how much development went into all of these cards, and it does give you a ton of replayability, but again, also does make there to be some swinginess that you kind of don't know what you're going to get going in from game to game to game in a way that might not be everyone's cup of tea, and definitely something I struggle with this game at times. But the darkness cards will come out when, as the darkness advances, we start with 0, we get up to 10. Once we get to 10, we'll take one of these cards, put it in play. We get to 20, we put a second one of those cards, put it in play. The effects of both of those cards are cumulative. If you get over 25, then blights have +1 defense, which is really bad. If you get over 30, then you continually start adding blights, and you start adding all blights in the monastery, which again means that you have very little time to kill the Necromancer or you're going to lose. What I'm shuffling up right now is the mystery deck. The mystery deck is huge in getting clues. You absolutely need to get mystery cards, and the best way to do that is to search to get them, and the best place to search to get mystery cards is going to be in the ruins, which is thematically thematically makes a lot of sense. So hopefully we can get some searching done there and get some of these mystery cards out so we can get 10 clues pretty quick to get this artifact and try to win the game that way. Now, on my recorded playthrough, as I throw these mystery cards everywhere, and on my recorded playthrough, I just randomized the starting cards of the 4 heroes. I found that not to be a great idea with these specific characters, so I did go ahead and choose my starting cards for all 4 heroes. And how that works is, for those who don't know, each hero has an individual deck of 13 cards, and every single card in this game is 100% unique. So 29 times 13, someone do the math. It's a little bit much for me to do on the fly, but 29 times 13. Man, I'm kind of pot committed now, right? 29. I can't. Someone else do it. 20 times 290. 317. I think there's 317 different hero cards. Someone can check my math later. All right. So what we have is 5 of these cards in each of these decks, and they're definitely different colors for all of the different heroes. 5 of these cards are going to have this little symbol up in the top left and the top right. That means those are the starting cards. Now, what you do with the starting cards is you choose 5, or I randomized 3 out of the 5 in my video playthrough, whatever you prefer. But if you're choosing 3 out of the 5, I said choose 5, sorry, you choose 3, and those are your starting cards for the game. The 2 that you don't choose, along with the 8 that don't have that symbol, you're going to shuffle up, and this makes your deck for the rest of the game. And some of these cards you're going to really, really want, and hopefully you get a chance to get them. Some of them you're like, it's a little redundant. Some of them aren't going to really work for your team or be what you need. But the crazy thing is how slow you progress in this game is that this is your deck. So you have these 10 cards here. With the Acolyte, as I said a little bit earlier, I might get 1 of those cards, I might get 2, I might get 4. I mean, you just don't know how any kind of one singular game is going to play out. So I did the same process though with all of these heroes. Again, I went through their 5 starter cards, I picked 3, put the ones I wanted in play, and now we're shuffling up the 8 that aren't starter cards plus the 2 starter cards I didn't choose and put them here. It is a little weird though when you gain a card and it's like a starter card that you rejected in the beginning. It's like, ugh. I didn't want that card for a reason. But again, all the skills, they all just give you a little bit of an edge. They give you a little bit more of an ability. They give you something that will make your life a little bit easier. So I'm going to shuffle up these Druid cards now. That goes there, and now we have the Ranger. I will go through the flavored text of all of the heroes. Note the second edition does come with a miniature for the Necromancer. I find it to be potentially the worst miniature that I own. It's just not crafted well and just feels cheap, and I don't like it. So I like the artwork of the standee a whole lot more. I think especially works better for the camera, so I will use that option today. And then we have the 4 heroes. All these are supposed to be on standees, which is why they have so much space at the bottom. But again, for the camera, I will not be using the standees. All your heroes start in a monastery. The monastery is a very special place. And then the other locations you have on the board are the mountains, the castle, the swamp, the ruins, the forest, and the village. Now note, if I took this and I could open it up, there's a much bigger version of the board, but again, it's a lot harder to make that fit on the camera. So this is where it is. It will make things a little bit crowded as we get more blights out, but it will usually work, so I'm not that worried about that. Let me go through the flavor text over here. Oh, and then everything else, the rest of the components, we have all the different treasures and stuff that we can find. We have the active, inactive tokens. The only one that really is going to use that today is going to be the Druid, and even he won't be using it that much. We have tokens that are related to the mystery cards and the quest cards over here, and then we have are sparks. So I'll just have that supply right down there. So the Acolyte. The Acolyte is a student of dark arts, halfway down the path to becoming a necromancer himself. The tainted powers the Acolyte studies to put him out the tainted powers the Acolyte studies put him at particular risk, especially with the flood of undead into the kingdom. But his knowledge also places him in a unique position to undermine their attack. Teetering on the edge of the darkness, the Acolyte is perfectly placed to turn the tide. So the 3 starting powers I have for the Acolyte are 1 tactic and 2 bonuses. Tactics are like when you choose an action. Tactics that relate to that action will allow you the option to have some extra kinds of rolls in your roll. Right, so if I ever choose to do a fight action, I have the tactic Final Rest in play. That means that I can fight with 2 or 3 dice, but if I roll a 1 with any of these dice, I have to lose one of my grace. Again, every single hero has 2 resources coming in. 1 is secrecy. The more secrecy you have, the harder it is for the necromancer to see where you are, but he's always going to be searching for you, kind of like the Eye of Sauron. And then we have grace. Now, grace you can use to spend when you take a wound, right? Otherwise, you would die. So you have to spend the grace to stay alive. Now, if a die comes up a 1, you lose a grace. The thing is, you cannot lose beyond 0. So one of the interesting things about the Acolyte is that if I fight with 3, but I already have 0 grace, that's fine because I cannot lose what I don't have. So, but if I was at 0 and I took a wound, I'm dead, right? Because I would have no grace to spend to absorb that wound instead. How you get grace back, the most common way to get grace back is to go into the monastery and do a pray action, which we will talk about in a little bit. Note the back of the hero cards all have a lot of helpful information. So I have the alchemist card here, which I'm going to have off camera below to kind of give me some reference of what I'm looking at. And then I have this sheet, which I wish was 2 different sheets because it's a lot on 1 piece of paper, but you have the items, explain what all the items do, different search results, the Necromancer's turn, and then you have all the blights listed here and tell you exactly what they all do. So very, very helpful player aids in this game for sure. So that's Final Rest. Dark Veil is a bonus card. I can exhaust at any time to ignore the Blight's effects until your next turn. It can be really strong. And then bonus, exhaust after you fail an attack on a blight to ignore its defense. That can be really strong as well. So the interesting thing about when you exhaust a card, well, that card is now useless to you. However, you can take an action. You can do a rest action, which would not only give you a +1 secrecy if your secrecy is below 5, but allows you to ready all your cards. Additionally, if you do a pray action in the monastery, you would also ready all your cards that way. So you want to figure out, when you're only doing 1 action a turn, you are going to want to space out like, hey, all right, I'm going to need to recharge with this hero, but with this hero I can do this, and you'll kind of see how that plays out if you don't know already. Blinding Black is the last power I have for the Acolyte. It's a bonus, exhaust after a Necromancer movement roll to prevent him from detecting any heroes, regardless of secrecy. We'll see how that plays out. Now we have the Channeler. With 1 foot in the astral plane, the Channeler's methods are often inscrutable, but nonetheless effective. At times she seems to see the world and wields powers no stranger than any other magic. At times she seems to fade from the world and traverse a very different landscape. What motivates this transition is unclear, but the results are nothing if not mythic. So she starts with 4 grace and 6 secrecy. I might not have said this. The Acolyte starts with 3 grace and 7 secrecy, so you do see some differentiation among the characters already. So the 3 powers I have for her, again, we have 1 tactic and 2 bonuses. Her tactic is Eddie. Now, her normal ability is that she will loot with 2 dice. If she fails, she gets to refresh a power. That's huge, right? So I'll be doing a lot of eluding and probably not being that upset if I fail. She has an astral ability on this card, which I'll get to in a second, which I'll say now, but I'll explain what that means in a second. Her astral ability is that she can fight with 2 dice. Her diffraction ability, it's a bonus. So again, not a tactic. This is just a bonus that she has. She has normal bonus that she adds 1 to her highest die when she's searching. Her astral ability is that she ignores Blight's effects. What are these normal versus astral abilities? Well, astral surge. So she has 2 astral surges in her deck. They're very important. The one is a starter card, the other one is not. And it was about like 3 turns into a game that I realized that I was like, oh wait, I can't just randomize cards because I need Astral Surge for Channeler, and then I looked at the other characters too and realized randomizing was probably not great with this group. So Astral Surge bonus as exhausted any time until your next turn, +1 die on all your rolls. So you get to roll 3 dice instead of 4, 4 dice instead of 3, 3 dice instead of 2, etc. And your powers have their astral effect. Instead of their normal effect. That could be really, really huge, right? So it's like, hey, I want to be astral this turn, so now I get to fight with 3 dice, and at the end of the turn, I can ignore all the effects of blight. That could be really, really important. So I don't think you're ignoring the defense of blight, but you can definitely ignore the blight's effects, which is nice. Alright, so now we have the Druid. The Druid, it has a special connection to the natural world and can call upon allies there to aid in his tasks. As nature has many faces, so too the Druid can adopt a variety of shapes suited to varying purposes, allowing him to tailor his advantages to the tasks at hand. However, adopting one form loses the advantages of another, and thus the Druid can be weak if caught unprepared. So the nice thing about the Druid is that he looks like less of a weenie than Bravelar's Mini does. So that's yeah, buddy. Anytime I can take a dig at Bravelar's Mini, I will. Never fails. So he has an inactive card, which I'll put to the side. We'll talk about that last. And then we have 2 tactics. The one tactic is Animal Companion. I get to fight with 2 dice, but I have to exhaust the card if I fail. The other tactic I have here is Camouflage. I get to elude with 2 dice. Now, Mistform is very interesting. Inactive. When you would suffer a wound, so it has to be the Skull and Crossbones. It can't be Spending Grace. It has to be, hey, if you're going to suffer a wound, you may instead deactivate and exhaust all other active forms. I would have no other active forms, but then I could activate this. Now, so basically it's a way to avoid a wound. Now, it only works if we're inactive. So the fact that I have no other forms in play right now means that if this is already active, I'm not going to be able to avoid a wound. I'm going to need to have an inactive. Well, how do I deactivate it? Well, when it's active at the start of my turn, I may deactivate this and then activate any form, or I could just deactivate if I travel. We'll most likely be doing that. From reading this, I don't think you can deactivate this if there's not another form that I have to activate. So I think I'm kind of stuck in this form until I travel, but that could be wrong. But the rules FAQ I was looking at yesterday seem to suggest that. And now we have the Ranger. The Ranger is a capable hunter, accustomed to roaming the far reaches of the kingdom. Through intimate familiarity with less traveled parts of the land, the Ranger is able to find refuge or passage where others would be lost and turn the unique features of each region to his advantage. In combat, his tactics are unconventional, but no less effective. Now, I haven't seen a lot of the land-specific powers for the Ranger, so I just don't think I've been able to dig through his deck enough. Again, you're only seeing 1 or 2 cards a game a lot of times. I will say the Druid has a Grace of 5, a Secrecy of 6. The Ranger has a Grace of 5 and a Secrecy of 7. So lots of secrecy in this group for sure. The 3 things I have for the Ranger, well, 1 is an action, 2 are action cards. So those are different than any other cards we've seen. Basically, as an action, the Ranger would be doing that thing. And then 1 is a tactic, which again will augment an action that the Ranger might be doing. So the Pathfinding, exhaust to move yourself and any number of heroes at your location to any one adjacent location. Each hero gains 1 secrecy up to 5. So it's similar to a travel action. Travel action is like when you're moving to an adjacent region and then you gain a secrecy if your secrecy is less than 5. It's the same thing, but you can move your whole group, which is super efficient, and it's a really, really important card. But again, it does need to be exhausted. Track is exhaust to travel and then search. So that's, again, the more you can combo actions in one turn, it's amazing. So exhaust, I can travel and search in the same turn. Thank you very much. And then we have Poison Arrow. Fight with 3 dice. If the highest die equals the target number, you both succeed and fail the roll. That could be pretty brutal, and we'll talk about what that means as we go. So pretty much set. The Necromancer starting here. Notice I have a Skull and Necromancer, and that's just to remind me to up the darkness. It was something I kept forgetting to do in a lot of my plays of this game. So I was like, you know what, let me just put a visual cue for me that I need to do something. And I have this stone here by the 10 just to remind me that when I get the 10, I need to pull a darkness card. The final step of setup, not the first thing, the final thing is that we're going to pull this map card, and this is going to be our starting blights. We're going to put 6 blights on the board because of this card, but we're not putting a blight in the monastery. So our starting card tells us to put a void in the mountains. What does the void do? Well, it counts as 2 blights and has a defense of 7. So we're pretty much never killing this. But the good thing is it doesn't actually do anything super bad to us during gameplay. It just means that it's going to be easier to get 4 in one area, which would mean that it'd be easier to get blights in a monastery, which is super bad. We also have a void in the castle, so I'll put that there. We have a confusion in the village. Really don't love this one. This is rough. So this says no tactics. So when you're in a village, you cannot use your tactics. So hey, fight with 3 dice. Nope, can't do that. The fight with 2 dice. Nope, can't do that. Fight with 2 dice. Nope, can't do that. So that's really, really not great. Astral Surge would still be fine because that's a bonus. So I would be able to get 2 dice if I was doing a fight with Astral Surge. But the problem is if I lose, so each of these blights has a couple of things. They have like this, they have their continuing effect or the effect that's in play when you're in that location. The blues are only in the location where they are. The reds are global effects, and we'll talk about that when we see one of those. But there's also a defense. So if I try to kill a blight and I fail, well, what happens? If I try to kill confusion, if I fight confusion and I fail, I'm going to lose an entire turn. That means that the next time it's my turn, I don't do anything. I don't draw an event card, I don't do anything. But losing a turn is never a good thing when you're losing 25% of your group actions for the round. That's just not great at all. So it's tough to beat that one, but we'll leave that there and we'll see how we want to play with that. We're going to get a corruption in the swamp. The swamp is so corrupted. Where are the swamps? Taint, spies. Oh, I'm not looking for swamp. I'm looking for corruption. Right. Here we go. So no bonuses. And if I fail trying to attack the corruption, I exhaust all my powers. So again, not as rough as losing a turn, but it means you're gonna have to spend a turn to refresh all your powers most likely, and no bonuses. So that means that I wouldn't, that's not that bad for the ranger. He's trying to attack that, but when you have the bonuses from, well, I guess the only one that's really relying on bonuses right now would be the channeler, and then and the acolyte. So that might not be a place for them to go. Whereas again, the ranger is going to be fine if he was over there. And then finally, we're putting a dark fog in the forest. +2 to search difficulty. If you try to defeat that and you fail, you lose a turn. So that's rough. And then we have the gate. The gate is a global effect blight. That means the Necromancer teleports, and that's all the way over in the ruins, and man, do I hate that. So what does that mean? The Necromancer is always going to do a roll on their turn, and they're going to compare the roll to the secrecy of the various characters. Now, how do you lose secrecy? Well, you lose secrecy if you're in a location with the Necromancer to start of your turn. There's going to be a lot of events that are going to make you lose secrecy, and you'll lose secrecy if you attack a blight. You lose a secrecy, win or lose. So definitely, it's a resource that will start quickly dwindling as the game goes. Normally, the Necromancer will just move to an adjacent location. So if, say, that the Channeler is a secrecy of a 3, the Necromancer rolls a 4, everybody else is over 4 or higher, the Necromancer would just basically move to the village, getting over to the Channeler. But now, as long as the gate's in play, the Necromancer will just be able to teleport right to where the Channeler is, and that could definitely be rough. Just want to check one thing. Random detected hero. Yeah, got it. So one interesting thing about when the Necromancer moves, though, say the Channeler was here with a 2 and the Acolyte was here with a 1, and the Necromancer rolls a 3, 4, 5, or 6. Even if there's a Channeler's already there, the Necromancer, we would randomize where the Necromancer would go. So he might actually go to the forest, even though he's already at the location with the Channeler. That makes some sense, I hope. And that card was carried out, so we put that over there. And I think we're ready to go. Philip Strand, what's up, sir? First live watch. I picked up the minis for this that were painted by the previous owner. If you painted these minis, I could definitely see them being cooler. The Necromancer that came with the game is he's in bad shape, man. Well, so I'm gonna get a sip of coffee, and then we're gonna get this party started. And yes, I am drinking iced coffee in March, because who doesn't do that? Alright, so these tokens, as I already mentioned, these are your holy relics. These are our tokens to indicate who has gone. One of the things that I do in this game, because I am neurotic, is I will put these on top of the event deck, and that just kind of cues me to make sure I pull an event card whenever necessary. You do not pull an event card on a turn when you start in the monastery. You also do not pull an event card that if you're at the location in the with the Necromancer, and after losing the one secrecy because the Necromancer is there, if your secrecy is at 0, instead of pulling an event card, instead you fight the Necromancer, and usually you'll take a damage as a result of that. So we're not gonna have to pull any event cards on the first turn unless we want to, which I think we actually do. Yeah, I'm going to do the Ranger's turn. So I'm going to take one of these 4 tokens, indicate that we're spending that on the Ranger. The Ranger is going to exhaust to move himself and any number of heroes at his location to an adjacent location. Each hero would gain 1 secrecy up to 5. Everyone's over 5 secrecy, so that's not going to apply. But I'm going to move all these guys up into the mountains. That's a huge power for the Ranger. It's very unique, and I love it because it just gets you into the game that much quicker and tries to get you to get something started. I'm gonna now try to search. Now remember, the void's there, but the void's not doing anything to us. It's just kind of a thing, and we have no chance of defeating it anyway because it has a defense of a 7. Now that we're in the mountains, we are gonna have to start pulling event cards because we're not in the monastery anymore at the beginning of my turn. So I'm gonna take this token, I'm gonna use this on the channeler and pull an event card. What's my event card? Sleeping Pollen. Refresh all your powers, then spend a secrecy or draw 2 more events. A yawn escapes. You struggle to keep your eyes open as you seek a safe place to sleep. I will spend my secrecy. I do not want to draw 2 more event cards, and we're going to put that right there. Now, if I did not have any secrecy to spend, I would have to obviously choose 2 more event cards. But Sleeping Pollen's very much not that bad of a card, so okay with that. And now what am I going to do on the channeler's turn? Well, I'm on the normal side. I'm not going to go astral, so I'm going to get +1 to my highest die when searching, but unfortunately I can only roll with 1 die. What is the search difficulty? Well, the search difficulty in the mountains is a 4, so I'm going to hit on a 3 or better, so I have 2/3 chance of succeeding and getting my first search done in this game, and naturally I rolled a 1. I swear these dice are weighted. Oh my gosh. So 2/3 chance of succeeding, and naturally I failed miserably. So my trying to play the odds did not work for me, and that search was highly ineffective. One thing I could have done is just moved her there and tried to search in the castle next turn, but I was feeling greedy. Plus, I had more of a chance of like maybe getting a mystery card out if I got lucky, depending on what I found in the mountains. And you know that's a thing. We're now going to go to the Acolytes turn. The Acolyte's going to pull an event, but I really do think these dice are weighted sometimes, man. I roll ones so many times. It's ridiculous. Except when I don't really care about a thing, then I'm rolling like 3 6s and a 5, and then we're fine. All right, Horde. So the Horde says the recent bloodshed has swollen the ranks of the dead with lesser spawn. So we're basically going against the lesser spawn of the dead. Of course we are. There are values. I think the higher the value, the worse the card. So the 3 is still not bad. We're comparing this to the Secrecy of the Acolyte. So the Secrecy of the Acolyte right now is a 7. So we're going to go to 4 plus. So we're going against the small Horde. I have 2 options. I can try to fight the Horde, and I would need a 4 or higher, or I could try to elude the Horde, where I would need a 3 or higher. My tactic I can use for a fight, but I really don't want to risk rolling a 1 anyway, because, we saw how I do that, and it's going to be a little bit easier for me to do the elude anyway. I need a 3 instead of a 4, so I'm just going to roll 1 die. I rolled a 5. I managed to successfully pass that test. I do not take any damage from the Horde because I eluded them, naturally. With the Acolyte, I think I want to get the Acolyte over to the castle and do some searching over there to get some powers. Yeah, because I don't have the +1. The castle is only a 2. Again, the mountains is a 4. So I'm going to exhaust the Acolyte and just move him over here. There are no blights that have an effect on the Acolyte while he's there, so we don't have to worry about fighting anything or any other negative effects. So he's done. I'm pulling an event card for the Druid. It is blank. Ugh. I have to roll 1 die and pick 1. So roll 1 die and pick 1 is weird. Basically, if I had sparks, I could choose to spend sparks to roll more dice and then pick the one that I wanted. At this point, I'm rolling 1 die. I rolled a 6. I moved to the village. And this form is inactive. So I had that active instead of inactive. I might as well try to defeat confusion while I'm here. I don't love it, but I can roll 2 dice, and I would just need a 4. But if I fail, I'm going to lose a turn, and I'm getting a little gambly early on with this. But hey, why not? So I'm going to roll 2 dice. I just need 1 4. I rolled a 3 and a 4, so I did succeed. Since I attacked a blight, I lose a secrecy, but confusion is out, and now the village is totally clean. Remember, to defeat the Necromancer, you are going to need a clean area, so taking care of 1 or 2 blights a turn can be really helpful toward that. So thank God I drew that 4 and rolled that 4, and I succeeded, so I don't need to exhaust the animal companion card. So those are all 4 of my actions. I'm going to take all these back, and now we go to the Necromancer's turn. The first thing we do in the Necromancer's turn is we're going to move the darkness up, so it's up to 1. Next thing we're going to do is, if there were any quest cards in play, we would add a timer. There are none, and now we're going to make a roll for the Necromancer. He rolls a 2. All of our secrecy is at least 2, so he does not spot any of us, but he's going to move according to the instructions on the board. A 2 has a Necromancer move into the swamp, and now that he's there, he's going to pull the map card, and he's going to add another blight to the swamp, and it's going to be confusion. I'm so confused. Alright, so that swamp is looking nasty, nasty. Probably will not be doing much searching there because lots going on. So no tactics, no bonuses. It's just badness. Philip says 5:30 in the morning there. That's early. That too is. I see 5:30 on the other end sometimes, not often, but I don't know if I've woken up before 5:30 in quite a while, except for maybe a recent plane trip or 2 in the last couple of years. Alright, so that is done. I'm going to reset the Necromancer's skull just to remind me next turn, and now we go to the following turn. I want to get some more powers, right? So let me start with the Acolyte. So I'm going to start here, get an event card for the Acolyte. The Vile Beast. Is this what the Necromancer has wrought? Such an abomination was not meant to exist. I can fight this dude with against a 5. If I succeed, I get a spark. If I fail, I lose a health, or I can try to elude. It's only a 4, but if I fail, I lose a grace. I mean, I'm tempted to do final rest, but if I roll 3 and I still fail, and I roll a 1, then all of a sudden I go from 3 grace down to 1. I think it just makes more sense to try to elude it. I'm 50%. I rolled a 3. I failed. I lose a grace. No spark for me. That goes there. I'm going to now, yeah, that's fine. None of that matters. All right, so now I'm going to search. I need to beat a 2. That is the search difficulty in the castle. I'm rolling 1 die. I rolled a 4. I succeed. If you can roll multiple dice and you have multiple successes, you would be able to pull 2 map cards or 3 map cards, whatever number of successes you had, and keep the one you want. So what finding do I get? Well, in the castle, I get... It's I think it's called the Tome of Relearning. Is that? Nope, the supply cache. Great. So I would take one of these supply caches over here. If I can find it. Is that green? Nope. Is that even a thing? Might not even have a token for it. Some of these are items that you can share. I think the supply cache is just something you just get. Great. So I'm immediately going to draw 2 power cards, keep one, place the other on the bottom of my deck. So let me look at these 2 power cards, decide which one I want to keep, and the Acolytes Turn will be done after this. So we have Fade to Black, bonus, +1 die in fights when the darkness level is 10 or more, another +1 die in fights when the darkness level is 20 or more, or Death Mask. You may choose not to lose secrecy for attacking a blight, including use of Call to Power. You may choose not to lose secrecy for starting your turn in the Necromancer's location. I don't know what helpful that is. I think the +1 die later in the game is going to be more helpful. So I'm going to take Fade to Black, and then I place this other card at the bottom of my deck, and again, just kind of load up on some powers. The castle really is the place to get strong and can make the rest of your game a lot easier. But again, we have done nothing to find any clues. So I feel like this is going to be a tough clue game for sure, is what I'm expecting. But I think I might just do 4 searches this turn. I mean, I might take another shot with a channeler in the mountains. And I can even search with the Druid in the village. Is only a 3. So I you know, I would need a 3 with the Channeler, a 3 with the Druid, and a 2 or higher with the Ranger. I kind of like those odds. Let me do the Ranger next. His turn's the more interesting of these. We get the Forbidden Treasure. So I lose a Grace right off the bat, so I'm down to 4. I roll 1 die and pick 1. Again, it says to pick 1 because I could be rolling more than 1 dice if I was spending charges. I roll the 6. I draw an Artifact. Oof, nice. Artifact in the game. Artifact in it, baby. Book of Mysteries. The first time the darkness reaches a multiple of 5, draw a mystery card. Oh, that is... Wow. That's disgustingly good. So artifacts are interesting, and I'm going to confirm this. So they function as items and powers. So if I'm remembering that correctly, so it doesn't mean when you have to exhaust a power, you could choose to exhaust an artifact. Yeah, they are ancient items of legendary power. They also count as items. So if it was exhausted, that would not be in place. So, but it would be something, an option for me to exhaust if I needed to exhaust powers and I didn't want to exhaust anything else. So I will absolutely take that. And getting extra mystery cards out on the board will really help me get some clues. So very, very happy with that. And that was just my event card. That was really sick. That was a very nice 6 for me. And now I'm going to exhaust track to travel and then search. So I'm traveling here. Now, this is not the travel action, so I don't get the +1 secrecy if I was -5, but I'm already at 7, so it doesn't matter. And now I'm going to search. Again, in the castle, the search difficulty is just a 2. I roll 1 die, and I roll a 6 again. That's 1 success. So I draw the map card in the castle. Ooh, I get a mystery? I didn't even know they had mysteries up there. I wanted the power, but I'll take the mystery, I guess. That's weird. The castle is usually heavy on what I got, the supply caches, and on the treasure chest. The treasure chests allow you to discard to draw a power card, but I guess I'll take the mystery. That's fine. I like clues, so we're going to the mystery deck. Now, when you take a mystery card, it tells in the top left on the right side, that makes sense, right? Top left, right side. That tells you how many clues you get automatically. So we get 1 clue. And then it tells you where to put it. Well, it says random. So I'm going to roll the die. I rolled a 4. So we're going to look on the board in the village, and where does this go? Well, it goes in the castle. That's very nice. The treasure hunt says some eccentric scholar has hidden caches of scrolls throughout the kingdom, each containing a clue leading to the next. Permanent. If a 5+ is rolled here while searching, +3 clues and re-randomize this card's location. Oh, that is very nice. I think we're going to be searching in the castle a lot. So I'll try to put this where it's still visible. So that does change what I was going to do with the Channeler. The Channeler is absolutely going to be moving to the castle now. Interesting. So that is the end of the Ranger's turn. Study it. So the Book of Mysteries, I'm still like, it doesn't exhaust. Yeah, this is a really strong card. Study it carefully and it will reveal its secrets in time. I mean, look, I've played 15, 20 games of this, maybe more, and I've never seen this card. I mean, it's just incredible how much content is here. So we're going to do the Channeler. The Channeler wants to go join her friends in the castle. She's the only one that really has a bonus with searching here at all. So she's going to draw an event card. She's up against another Vile Beast. It's the same thing. So I can try to elude with 2 dice. That makes some sense because I have Eddie out. So I can do an elude. I can use this tactic, elude with 2 dice. If I fail, refresh 1 power. Obviously, I have no powers to refresh, but I rolled a 6 and a 1, so I succeed. And since I succeeded, I get myself a spark. And now I'm just going to travel with the Channeler, get over to the castle, and really try to trigger that treasure hunt and get 3 more clues, and then it'll just be moved somewhere else. We're going on a treasure hunt, kids. It's so fun. All right, Druid's going to get the Twilight. So we're comparing to Darkness. The Darkness is only a 1, so I have to exhaust a power or lose a secrecy. I'm going to... I'm going to lose the secrecy. I think that makes the most sense. And yeah, don't really feel like exhausting any of these powers. So that's fine. And now while we're here, we're going to search. The search difficulty in the village is just a 3. We rolled a 3 on the nose. Don't show off, Druid. So we do 1 search result from the map deck. Village, we get a harp. Which could be fine, I guess. It's just not what I wanted. Um, everything's useful. So the harp is a item. Now I can trade this with other heroes, etc., etc. That's like just a free action. But discard at any time to refresh all powers of all heroes. Again, that could be really, really helpful, especially later in the game. So that will go over there. So that's it. I'm going to take these power tokens, or these action tokens, put them back here. It is now the Necromancer's turn. The first thing the Necromancer does is advance the darkness, so it's at 2. And then the Necromancer is going to make his secrecy roll. He rolls a 4. Everyone has at least 4 secrecy, so that's irrelevant. But the Necromancer is going to move. No, it doesn't. The swamp, if it rolls a 4 or a 6, the Necromancer stays in the swamp. So we're going to pull a map card, and the swamp gets a corruption. So we have a corruption, a confusion, and another corruption, all in the swamp. The swamp is a bad place to be, kids. Not want to go there anytime soon. Great. We now go to the next round of turns, and hopefully we can trigger this treasure hunt. I would be happy with that. So we're going to draw an event card for the channeler. Dilemma. Draw a quest and roll 1 die to determine its location. Then draw another quest and roll 1 die to determine its location. Sometimes it seems as if the Necromancer was everywhere at once. So we're drawing 1 quest. This quest is the Dark Seed. Blackening soil and withering plants indicate a dark seed has taken root nearby. Locate and uproot it before it flowers. I'm rolling a die to see where this goes. I rolled a 5. Using these numbers here, this goes in the swamp. I guess we're never getting here. So that's just the thing that's going to happen. Now, when you draw a search result in this location, draw 1 fewer map cards for 1 success. If we get 1 success, we succeed. If we complete this, the darkness goes down 1. However, if we don't complete this in 5 rounds, and it's actually going to be less than 5 rounds, you'll see how that plays out based on events and stuff. We have to add a blight to the swamp, and we're already got 3, so likely we'll have to get a blight in the monastery, and that's not great. So we're going to put that there. Now I'm going to draw another quest card because we're still on dilemma here. And it is Rogue Reaper. A Reaper has gone mad and is slaughtering people at random. Destroy the Reaper and put a stop to this bloodshed. I'm going to roll a die to see where it goes. I rolled a 4. This goes... Ooh, that could be helpful. This is going to go up in the castle. So if we complete this, we get an Epiphany. If it expires, it's +1 darkness. To complete it, we need, just like the Dark Seed, we need 1 success. Rogue Reaper, we need 1 success. But to get that success, we need, instead of this one, we have to complete a search and draw 1 less card. So that's actually pretty easy to do. The problem we have there is there's just so many friggin' blights there. So we'll see what happens to the Necromancer and whatnot. But to get the success here, we have to fight versus 6, and if we get 1 success, we succeed. But if we try to do that and we fail, we take a damage. So that getting to a 6 is going to be hard, but that's where something like, Final Rest might come in handy. Astral Surge with the +1 die, so we could have 3 dice with Eddie. Plus the spark. I mean, we have ways of making those odds not awful, but still we would need a 6. But if you get that, you get an Epiphany. Epiphany allows you to look through your entire deck and take the card you want. That can be very strong. But again, that also has 5 rounds. The drawback of either of those quests aren't awful. So if neither gets done, we would be okay. So I'm not that worried about it. But I do want to make sure we're doing this treasure hunt. So I'm going to do the channeler. She's going to, I need a 5+ to do that search thing. So I'm going to use her spark. We're going to roll 2 dice because I have 1 dice naturally plus the extra die for the spark. I'm adding 1 to my highest die when searching. So I just need a 4 or higher with one of these 2 dice. I rolled a 3 and a 3. That's not good. So this was a search action, right? This is a permanent thing. So I'm still searching. I wasn't searching for the treasure hunt. There's not an action there. So I will be able to get 2 results from the map deck because I had 2 successes. The search difficulty in the castle is only a 2. And I can get either the supply cache or I can get I mean, know what that symbol is. What are you? It's Home of Retraining. I can discard to put one of my power cards at the bottom of the deck and then draw two. I do not want to lose any of these cards. So I'll take a supply cache. And now again, if I done that search here, I could have just ignored one and got that success, but obviously I was searching over in the Rogue Reaper. So I'm drawing two cards. I get to keep. Yeah, drawing two cards and get to keep one. So we have the Shallows. We have a bonus, normal, +1 die when eluding, Astral, +1 die when fighting, or Vortex, Tactic, exhaust to fight with 3 dice, or Astral is elude with 3 dice. I think I'm going to take Vortex, especially since I have Eddie and I can refresh powers. Oh, man. Bonus is just, yeah. But having the +1 die and fight, I mean, I could get 4 dice when fighting pretty regularly. Actually, I think Shallows and Eddie actually are a much better combo. We'll do that. So we'll take Shallows, and we're going to put Vortex in the bottom of the Channeler's deck. And that was the first of my 4 turns this round. Do I keep searching? Just need a 5+ for 3 clues. It's kind of like, it's hard not to do. I mean, the other one is like try to do this Rogue Reaper nonsense, but I would need a 6. And the only one that I'm fighting. Fight with 2 dice with the Druid and then ignore the damage. It's not awful. How lucky do I feel? I just need a 6, yo. He can fight with 3 dice. Well, that would be the poison arrow, though, and I would be guaranteeing myself that I would take the loss even if I won. Epiphany could be really strong. So many options. Oh, Daniel Edwards says VUM today. All right, we're gonna report commercial content or spam. All right, that one's out. So many decisions, kids. What do I do? All right, let's fight with the Druid. All right, do I just trust? I mean, I'm torn. Maybe I just search. I don't know if the Epiphany is going to be worth the amount of actions it might take to try to get this done right. Oh, the Druid's actually in the village, so the Druid can't even fight up there. Interesting. The Necromancer is still teleporting. I could try to defeat the gate. The ruins is a great place to search, so I don't hate that. Maybe I get down there with the Druid, because I'll be more likely to get clues in the ruins, and I'm going to need 10 of those suckers. So yeah, let me do that. So I'm going to go with the Druid's turn. The event card is -1. Oof. -1 darkness. So dark discharge. At first you thought it was just ambient power, but no, there's something here. Flavor text is great. So -1 darkness, but I have to create a blight in the village. So I go to the map card. The village is going to get terror. +1 die, discard the highest. That's a brutal, brutal effect. So basically, whenever you're rolling, you roll additional die, but your highest die goes away. That makes doing a lot of things very hard, and if you fail, you exhaust a power. Alright, but the darkness down 1, but I don't know if I want the darkness to be down 1, because don't forget, I have this fade to black. I get +1 die with the Acolyte when I'm over, when there's 10 or more. But I'm going to move the Druid down here, and he gets +1 secrecy because he was under 5. That's his whole action. Whose turn now? Oh yeah, and then the Book of Mysteries is going to trigger. I didn't want the +1 dark, the -1 darkness. All right, that makes it even more like I'm just going to let the Rogue Reaper just be what it be. Man. Search difficulty in the swamps of 4. That's a lot. And one action you could do, I just don't find it very efficient, is just meditate. You just gain sparks. It's an interesting idea, but it's not great. It's not great. Alright, the Acolyte could refresh the Ranger so he can get his actions back. I like that. We're going to do the Ranger's turn. Let me get his pathfinding and stuff back. I don't want to use the Harp just yet. Ranger's turn, Mind Leech. Compared to Secrecy, his Secrecy is a 7. We are fighting a young Mind Leech. I love the art on these cards, by the way. I just love all the art in this game. It's just really, really... again, it's kind of like tropey and generic, but it's just really well executed, so I'm fine with that. Your thoughts grow sluggish. Your mind wanders by the time you realize it's an attack. It's nearly on top of you. So I need to either elude a 3 or fight a 4. If I succeed, nothing, but if I fail, I exhaust a power. I'm kind of fine with exhausting a power because I'm planning on just refreshing anything anyway, so I'm just going to try to elude a 3. I rolled a 1. We exhaust a power, and now on my turn, I'm going to do the hide action. I refresh all my powers, and I gain a secrecy up to 5. I'm already at 7, so I do not gain a secrecy there. Andy, hello folks. What's up, Andy? How are you, sir? Got all the crew in town here. Alright, so that's good. We're going to now go to the Acolytes turn. Bam, the event. Looters, panic, fear, greed. They grab everything that's not nailed down. I have no option to fight this, so I have to try to elude. If I win, I gain a secrecy. If I lose, I exhaust all my powers. Oof. Well, I have no way to boost an elude, so I need a 4 or higher, or we might be just refreshing him. I rolled a 4, so I gain a secrecy. I'm up to 8. That's not limited by anything, so that's fine. And maybe I'll go ahead and search, and maybe I'll get lucky and get a 5+. That makes some sense. Yup. So rolling a die, give me a 5+. A 3! Well, I succeeded on the search. I just did not trigger the treasure hunt. So that's getting a little bit annoying. So I'm in the castle. I get... What? This is supposed to be where I get my powers. I'm very confused. The castle, maybe it's just the yellow deck is like very different. I don't know, but I get another mystery card. That can't be right. Like I swear I'm like looking at these things wrong. Mystery card, where are you? All right. Extinguished. The scroll describes a ritual to permanently banish an evil magic from the land, but to perform it, you must purify an entire region. Where do I put this? Well, we get one clue off the bat, and we put it here. So we're staying in the castle. Permanent. When the last blight is destroyed here, oh, that's not happening. Because I had to destroy the void, so this is basically just one clue. It's a bad card, but bad card for this game state. So we place that blight token on this card. All types of blight on this card are destroyed where one created anywhere. Oh, I mean, if I could kill the void, that'd be great, but it's not. It's not gonna work. So that's unfortunate. Just kind of a one clue grab, but I'm really just trying to get some powers. And I'm in the place to get powers, which is why I'm getting exactly 0 of them. And I just really need to roll a 5 so I can trigger the treasure hunt and get those 4 clues. Awesome. Tough times, kids. Tough times. This is the plight of a solo player, I guess. All right, those all go there. The Necromancer is going to go. We're going to raise the darkness again to 2. Remember, it was at 2. Now it's back to 1. Now it's back to 2. We're going to do a secrecy roll. Everyone is 5 or higher. Necromancer rolled a 1. So he doesn't see any of us, but the 1 makes him move, and the 1 makes him move down to the ruins, and so he's going to be chilling where the Druid is. Of course he is. I have this blinding black, exhaust after Necromancer movement roll to prevent him from detecting any heroes, and then he would move based on what's on the card, but he didn't detect us, and he just, moved on based on what's on the board, so that's where he moved no matter what. So when he starts attacking us, though, blinding black can come in handy just to kind of manipulate where he's going. We're now adding another blight in the ruins, which isn't great. It is a dark fog. Oh, this is really not good. Dark fog +2 to search difficulty. So now searching the ruins is a 5. That's rough. Not really going to be able to do much against that. So, The most interesting turn. Oh, um, one thing I forgot to do. Yeah, we just put those quests out, right? Yeah, we drew 4 of these. This was on the Channeler's turn. So during the Necromancer's turn, we should have added a timer to both of the quests in play. If that ever gets to 5, it's exhausted and we get the expired negative effect instead of the other effect. Great. I want to do. Oh, man. Where do I want to go with the Druid is the question, I guess. +2 to search difficulty here, +2 to search difficulty here. Don't. Just a lot of badness going on there. Again, the good thing is they're just like continuing effects. There's not like anything attacking us. So we'll do the Druid's turn. He loses the secrecy because he starts his turn with the Necromancer. We're going to pull an event card. And Betrayal, I lose another secrecy. Goes down to 3. Only 3 people, only 3 other people knew about the rendezvous, yet when you arrive, it is swarming with the dead. We are betrayed, folks. It's not right. Why would you betray a Druid? But the Druid's going to get the heck out of here. It moves here. It gets the secrecy back, and it's going to end its turn. We're going to have the Channeler's turn. She's going to have the best chance of triggering in this treasure hunt. So do that next. Sloppy Search. I roll 1 die, take the highest. 4, no effect. The elderly, I'm sorry, the elderly, wow, I'm saying things. They clearly do not know how to look. Yoink. So no effects as we roll the 4. And now we're going to search with the Channeler. It's add 1 to my highest die when searching, but I'm only rolling 1 die. I really want a 4 or higher, please. I rolled a 1. That becomes a 2, so I can actually draw a map card and successfully search because the search difficulty there is only a 2. I get another supply cache. I draw 2 cards. I keep 1, put the other one at bottom. Torrent bonus. Any hero at your location may spend a spark as a free action to refresh 1 power. Astral. Any hero at your location may spend a spark as a free action to move to any location. Astral Surge. Or I get my other Astral Surge. Wow, Torrent is garbage. I just don't have enough sparks to make that worth it. 2 Astral Surges could be nice, I guess. Great. That was... I'll get a 5 eventually. I promise. Maybe not. I can't promise that. So, lots of cards here. 2 Astral Surges for the Channeler. Oh, man, that was really bad. What's the search difficulty here? It's a 4. Not good, kids. Alright, let's move down to the swamp. It's a 4, but it's doable, I think. So the ranger's going to move. The ranger's going to go. So we're going to take this token, goes here, event card, demon. A stench of sulfur and fiery glow tell you immediately what manner of fiend you are facing. My secrecy is a 7, so I can only elude a 6. I'm going to fail this, kids. I rolled a 2, so I failed. I lose a secrecy. I'm down from 7 to 6. And then in my action, I'm going to exhaust pathfinding to move me and the acolyte down to the swamp. Again, these blights aren't affecting us. It's just 2 corruptions and a confusion. It just means that we can't do certain things, but it's not like we don't have to fight anything at the end of our turn. We haven't gotten any like wraiths or skeletons or anything. It's really interesting how these cards have come out. And then finally, we're going to do the Acolytes Turn, the event card. It's a Bargeist. I think I'm saying that right. Bargist? Barghest? I don't know. It creeps through the mist, slowly circling around you. Its eyes glow like fiery eyes go like coals, not fiery. I guess they're coals. They should be fiery. I can try to fight or elude. If I fail on elude, I lose a secrecy. If I fail a fight, I lose a health. Or I can take a wound. So obviously I'm going to try to fail a... I'm going to go the elude. I'm not going to try to fail, but I probably will fail. No, I rolled a 5. There you go. So I succeeded. So this card goes away. And on my action, we need to search. Hopefully I roll a 5 again. And I can just get rid of this. I really care about that. I don't know if that helps. So stupid. Uh, yeah, it doesn't help. I'm just looking at this Dark Seed. I don't want -1, and I don't care about the rest of this. So, you know what? The Ranger I would not have moved. This doesn't change anything, because I was looking at this Dark Seed. I was like, oh, I want to finish that. No, I don't care. It just puts a blight there. Like, it is what it is. The swamp's a mess anyway. And that means I probably shouldn't have moved there with the Druid either, because it just doesn't matter. I would have moved to the village. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to draw one less search card to get -1 darkness when the darkness is only a 2. It's really silly. So I would have moved the Druid to the village. It gives me a lot more options. And now the Ranger would have searched here, and then I'm going to go ahead and search with the Acolytes. So I undid Pathfinder, and we're just going to search. I'm still trying to get that friggin' treasure hunt done. So we're searching with the Ranger. I succeed with a 2 or higher. I hope to get a 5 or higher. I got a 1. I failed altogether. And now I'm going to search with the Acolyte, because again, I already did the event card there. I get something with a 2 or higher. I want a 5 or higher. I rolled a 6! Woo! It kind of just fell out of my hand, but I'm taking it. That's ridiculous. All right, great. So I successfully get my search, and then we're going to do the treasure hunt. So I rolled a 5+ while searching. I get 3 clues. So I'm up to 5, and then we re-randomize where this card goes. I rolled a 5. The 5 puts this card... of course it puts it in the swamp, which is now where the Druid should be. But I'm not going to... I mean, obviously that would be way too much recreation. So I'm not going to do that, but it's there. So now I can go there next turn with Pathfinder and maybe continue to get those 3 clues, because those are going to be really, really helpful. Because I need 10 clues to get a relic, but we're halfway there and we're above the darkness. So now let me see what the map gave me. The castle, this is what I'm talking about. So I finally got a... Well, I guess I got the caches with... Right. I got the caches with the channeler, so I'm getting a treasure chest now for the Acolyte. It's an item. I can give it to another character, or I can keep it for myself. I will just take it as an item. Maybe we give this to the Ranger so he has another item, another card from his deck. I'm a little bit more confident in his cards than I am with the Acolyte's cards, to be quite honest with you. Alright, so that's done. So I'll just go ahead and give this to the Ranger. The Ranger can discard it next turn and get another card. We are going to go to the Necromancer's turn. On the Necromancer's turn, the darkness goes up, so it's at 3. The Necromancer is going to... We're going to add these timers to the 2 quests that are in play. Again, I don't really care about either of them. Neither of them are very realistic for me or helpful. And now we go to preventing a blight in the swamp could be nice, but I think I'd rather just take the results of my searches than kind of just have a whole wasted action trying to do that. And now the Necromancer is going to do a secrecy roll. Remember, he still teleports. He rolls a 1, so he doesn't find anybody, and the 1 puts him over in the forest. We draw a map card. In the forest, we're adding a dark fog. Wow, these dark... Oh, we cannot get a dark fog because all the dark fogs are on the board. So what happens when you do that, you just draw the next map card, and the forest is going to get a terror. If you pull 3 cards in a row that you can't place. It's really unusual. But if you pull 3 cards in a row that you can't place, then you just choose what blight you want to put there. But again, I haven't yet. I've yet to have that happen at this point. So that is done. I have 5 clues. Could try to start searching there. Take care of the dark seed anyway. But again, I don't really want the darkness to. I want the darkness to hit 5 so I can put the Book of Mysteries out. But starting to attack some of these blights might make some sense. Alright, let's have the ranger. Well, we're going to leave the castle finally. We'll do the ranger's turn first. The ranger's going to get an event card. It is a raid. Count the blights in your location. There are 1, but it counts as 2, so there are 2. I have to lose a grace and a secrecy. So I'm down to 3 grace and 5 secrecy. Rough. Now I'm going to discard this item, this treasure chest, to draw a card. The new power card for the ranger is Vagrant Bonus. At the start of your turn, if you're at the village, you may move to any location. Ooh. Interesting. Don't plan on being in the village, but, you know. Terror. Interesting. Yeah, terror is going to make life in the village hard. Could try to fight it, though, with the... It's going to be tough, right? Because I'm trying to... If I try to fight the terror with Animal Companion, I'd be rolling 3 dice, but remember, the highest dice goes away, so I need to have 2 dice that are 4 or higher to make that work. And now the ranger is going to do pathfinding, what I was going to do last turn, and we're moving all these suckers down into the swamp. Stroll. No one's really set up to search with this group, man. It's rough. Not a searching group. That's 3 clues if I can do the treasure hunt. But no bonuses or tactics at all. So I'm basically just fighting with 1 die. And if I fail to try to beat the confusion, then I lose a turn. So that's really just not great. I could move the whole crew to the village. Just kind of give up on the swamp. It's just kind of a mess right now. Yeah, let the swamp be. I need to get out of the castle. Nothing much is happening there. The village is good for me. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll get to the village with everybody. Let's see our friend the Druid. Hey, Druid, how are you? And let's see if I can't beat this terror. I will try to defeat the terror with the Acolyte. I think that'll make some sense. So let's do the Acolyte's turn next. He gets this. The event card is Urgent Plea. Draw a quest and roll 1 die to determine its location. Tears stream down her face as she tells you the tale. The quest card is this. It's going to be Secret Convoy. It's going to go in 2. 2 is where? 2 is actually down here in the ruins. Rumors say the Necromancer has located a powerful artifact but hasn't yet transported it to his lair. Steal it from the convoy to claim it for yourself. We need 1 success to succeed. It only has 4 rounds on it. However, again, the event card tells us to add 1, so it only has 3 more rounds. If we get 1 elude against a 5, we get a success and we're good. If we fail trying to elude it, we lose a secrecy. If we complete it, we get an artifact. If it expires, it's just +1 darkness. And again, I'm kind of fine with the darkness getting a little higher right now. So not going to go too crazy with that, although seeing the power of the artifacts, maybe I undervalue artifacts more than I should. But now the Acolyte's going to go ahead and fight against the Terror. So I'm going to use my Tactic Final Rest, so that gives me 3 dice. And we're going to have a 4th die because of Terror. The highest die goes away. If I fail this, I have to exhaust the power, but I'm going to need 2 to be 4 or higher out of these 4 dice. Bam, I rolled a 6, 4, 3, 2. So the highest die goes away, that's a 6. I lose a secrecy because I fought a blight. The 4 is enough to defeat the Terror, and that goes away. Now the village is nice and open, which I don't mind. I think I just do the rest of my searching in the village right now, because the village will give me a chance to get some clues to another mystery card maybe. So I don't hate that. We'll go ahead with the Channeler. The Channeler's event card is the Tracker, a Rust of the Leaves, a Creeping Silence, a Hungry Malevolence, dogs your steps. I can fight against a 4. If I win the fight, I lose a secrecy. I can do an elude against a 5. If I win the elude, no effect. But if I fail the fight or the elude, I lose 2 secrecy. So I guess I will try to... I can try to elude with 3 dice between the Eddy and the Shallows. So I'm still in normal. I haven't gone astral yet, so I'm going to roll these 3 dice. I'm going to try to elude, and I need a 5 or higher. I got a 1, 1, 3, so I fail. Since I fail, I lose 2 secrecy, so I'm down to only 3 secrecy. Remember, the Necromancer still teleports, so that's a thing. I think that's Blinding Black. Right, because I can still make him not detect any heroes. So we'll see what I roll. Obviously, being right next to the Necromancer is always a little bit dangerous. We're going to go ahead and search with the Channeler. So the search difficulty here is a 2, but I have +1 to my highest diamond searching with diffraction. So I need the search difficulty of village is a 3. I'm sorry. So I need a 2 or higher to succeed. I rolled a 1 again. Uh-oh. Yeah. It's amazing. This is the second time this game I needed a 2 or higher to succeed on a search, and I rolled a 1. So that's fantastic. I'm so happy about that, let me tell you. Alright, the next event has to be the Druid. The Druid gets Grim Tidings, draw a quest, and roll 1 die to determine its location. She delivers the news with a somber face. So drawing another quest. Let me see if it's a quest I actually care about this time. Evil Chant. Cultists are casting a ritual spell to sap the hero's grace, track them down to disrupt the chant and learn their secrets. Yeah, this one I like. It goes in 4. 4 is back up in the castle. If I succeed, I get a success. There's only 1 success to do it. There's no damage. There's no negative effect if I fail. And if I complete, I get a mystery. And that's what I want. If I fail, all heroes lose a grace, and that could be pretty bad. So I'm going to go ahead actually with the Druid and just move him up here. No. Try to search. That's going to be one heck of a elude. Channeler's going to be more set up for that one, to be honest with you. We'll search here. I need a 3 or a higher to get something. I rolled a 6. Map card in the village. We get ourselves a Scion Stone. Place on one of your powers during your turn. All heroes may use tactic effects from that card as if it were theirs. May not be moved after being placed on a power. Do I care to put that on the Druid? No. Let me give this to... Who's got tactics? I'll give it to the Acolyte. I think his Final Rest might be the best tactic card in play. So yeah, Science Zone is not exactly the thing of dreams. So we're going to move all these over here. We add 1 darkness. We're up to 4. We're going to add a bunch of these. So this is the third to that, the first to this, third to this, the second to this. Lots of quest cards in play. It's really the only one I super care about. And now we do the secrecy roll. It's a 3, doesn't see anybody, but the 3, it stays where it is. It pulls another blight in the forest. It gets another terror. So we have a bunch of terrors there. Awesome. Go back to the player turns. Want to get the channeler up here because she's going to have the best chance with that elude. She'll be rolling 3 dice. So let me pull an event card for her. The patrols compared to darkness. Darkness is at 4, 0 to 14. We're facing an archer. The 4 to elude, 4 to fight. Patient and tireless, they never stop searching. If I fail either the elude or the fight, I take a damage. I can roll 3 elude dice because I'm still in my normal. So I rolled a 6, 1, and 2, so I succeed. I do not take the wound. Channeler is going to move up there, and when she travels, she gets a secrecy back. She can try to do that elude next turn. She's done. I'm going to go to the Acolyte. We'll put this on his final rest so we all can copy that. I think we keep searching. I'm just going to need... I'm going to pull another mystery card soon. As soon as the darkness hits 5. Those next two mystery cards could be enough for me to get the 10 clues. I'm going to need just to call this a day and try to start attacking this dude. But yeah, so I'll probably just search in the village. Oh. I can move to any location with the ranger to start his turn, so that's nice. He want to go somewhere to fight something. I just don't know what the heck he's fighting. We could try to defeat the dark fog. Gives a chance to start searching in the ruins. I have to be realistic about where I can be to actually defeat blights, so I can actually have a chance to defeat the Necromancer. The village is obviously great. Alright, we'll go with the ranger next. Take a chance to try to defeat this dark fog. So the ranger's going to pull an event card. Jinx. Spend a... oh, interesting. Spend a grace, or turn all dice you roll into 1s, and ignore rerolls for the rest of the turn. Your bag rips, a branch catches your belt, the horse loses its shoe, something is wrong. Yeah, I'm fine doing that. I'll turn all my things to 1s. I'm going to move. I'll just do a move action. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to do this bonus. At the start of my turn, I can move to any location. I'm going to move down here. And while I'm here for the... So that wasn't an action. That was the bonus with the Vagrant. And then while I'm here, my action, I'm just going to do a meditate and take a spark. Yeah, I don't feel the need to refresh pathfinding right now. I'm going to draw a card for the Acolyte. I think I just searched with both the Acolyte and the Druid. Watchers. Compared to darkness, darkness is 5, so we're facing the lookout. A hushed word, a sudden stillness, eyes in the dark. I'm trying to elude a 4. I have no bonuses for my elude. If I fail, I lose a secrecy. So trying to elude against a 4, I rolled a 3, lose 1 secrecy. And we're going to now search. I need a 3 or higher. I rolled a 6. We pull the map card for the village. We get a mystery card. Nice. Mystery card comes out. It's the hidden library. There are rumors of concealed library There are rooms of a concealed library containing much forgotten lore in this location. If only you could find it. We get 1 clue, so we're up to 6. I'm going to roll to put this on the board. I rolled a 5, so this now goes over here. Yeah, this treasure goes in the worst possible location. We're just never searching up there. Well, yeah, I mean the treasure hunt and hidden library, maybe we search there. I don't know. We'll see what the next mystery card is. Again, we're going to get a mystery card as soon as it hits 5, thanks to the Book of Mysteries. Oh, it's interesting. Maybe I move the Druid over there, but I get no tactics, I get no bonuses. A 4 plus, that's 3 clues if I roll a 4 plus, so that's really not bad. Kind of want some more powers though, so maybe if I move with the Druid, that could be good. 1 or a 4 puts the Necromancer in the village. I definitely don't want him to go there. Could just stay where he is as far as I'm concerned. The Druid's gonna draw as a vent card. We'll see what that does. Panic, add a timer to a quest currently in play. He tells a story quickly and out of order. It's the same art as another one. No, Grim Tidings. Close. So I'm going to add this to, which one am I definitely not doing? I'm definitely not doing this one. So I'll make this have 4 on it. And then I'm going to just move with the, I search? Now I'll move with the Druid, get a secrecy back, and get him over here. We go to the Necromancer's turn. The Necromancer adds a darkness because of the Book of Mysteries. The first time the darkness reaches each multiple of 5, we draw a mystery card. Mystery card, Forgotten Outpost. We get 1 clue, so we're up to 7. The fortress stood against the darkness in ages past. What secrets lie in its ruins? Where am I going to place it? Please don't roll a 5 again. I rolled a 3. This goes to, well, that's not great. So as an action, we can roll 4 dice and resolve each. 6 would be draw an artifact. 3 to 5 is we get a clue, and 1 to 2 is discard this card. Interesting. I actually don't hate that at all. We add timers. This comes off because we failed to do it. That's +1 darkness, so darkness is at 6. Road Keepers is out. We add a timer over here. This is up to 2 out of 5. We add a timer here. This is up to 4 out of 5. And we add a timer here. This is up to 3 out of 4. No more quest cards on the board. We do the secrecy roll for the Necromancer. He rolls a 3. Doesn't see any of us. Our secrecy is all pretty good. And 3 keeps him here. So he's pulling another map card. And we're putting in the 4th blight in the forest. And we finally get some creatures. We get a Wraith. The Wraiths. So the Wraiths have an elude value of 4, a fight value of 4, so at the end of every turn you'd have to deal with that if you tried to defeat them. They have a defense of a 4. If you fail that defense, you take a damage. At the end of your turn, if you fail either the elude or the fight, you take 2 wounds. So when I say damage, I mean wound. So they could be pretty nasty. Alright. We're up to 7 clues. We have a couple of different options to get that last clue. Our best one's probably this hidden library over in the ruins. And we have another friend from afar. These spam guys, I don't get it. Someone smarter than me needs to tell me what the heck this random collection of words and letters does, and who has the time to bother. All right, or what to set up the automated machine, whatever it is. Let me get some more coffee. No tactics, no bonuses. Mystery if I elude. Let me go first with the Channeler and see if I can't get lucky rolling 3 dice and just need 1 6. So Channeler's going to draw an event card. Evil Day. I can either exhaust a power or draw 2 more powers, draw 2 more events. Something has stirred something has stirred the dead to frenzy. Dun dun dun. So I'm going to exhaust a power. I will exhaust Astral Surge. And remember, I have Eddie. And that's not exhausting it to use the power, that's exhausting it so I can't use it, but I have 2 of them. And remember, if I fail an elude roll, I get to refresh it anyway, so who cares? She's going to try to elude with 3 dice, because again, the tactic says I have 2 dice, and then I have the bonus of 1 dice. And I'm trying to elude. I need a 6 to try to get rid of this evil chant. I really don't want all heroes to lose the grace. Give me a 6! Or a 1, 2, 3. It's like a 6. So I failed. Since I failed, I can refresh a power. I'll refresh Astral Surge. Thanks for trying. It was valiant. She might just keep doing that. I'll roll a 6 eventually. Just refresh. See if I can't get lucky with the Druid. Just need to get these last 3 clues. Rescue. An ashen face looks up helplessly as a creature prepares to strike. You have only moments to intervene, so I can try to go against a defense value of a 5 or an elude value of a 4. I'm doing this with the Druid, so I have a tactic. I can elude with 2 dice. Nope, I can't use tactics or bonuses. So if I fail, I take fail plus 1 darkness. Which honestly, with Fade to Black, I kind of want to get plus 1 darkness. So I will try to elude with 1 die, because that's my only choice anyway. I rolled a 6. I succeed. Now I rolled the numbers I need. I am going to search in the... Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to search in the ruins. And a bunch of stuff can get triggered here at once. Alright. If I get a 4 plus, I'm good. A 5 plus is amazing. And if I search, succeed, and don't draw a card, I can take care of all of that. And I don't mind that. So we're searching with 1 die, because I can't use tactics or bonuses anyway, and I don't have any that will, even if I could, I don't have any that actually relate to searching. I rolled a 2! Super awesome! Now note, these mystery dice, these mystery cards. So like, if you succeed, you just basically use these keys to cover up what you've already done. They're only one-time bonuses unless they say permanent and have different effects that way. So that was unfortunate. Does he try to elude? Get a plus 1 darkness. I could have him search up there. And I did do the meditation. I kind of like that. Let me take this. See what's going on with the Ranger. His event card is Test of Faith. Compare it to Secrecy. My Secrecy is a 5. If it's 5 plus, it's a bad situation, but you know what to do. But you know what you must do. I'm going to lose a Secrecy, but get a Spark. Oh, that's even better. Great. So on his turn, what's he going to do? We're going to exhaust. We're going to use track as my action. I travel. I don't get plus 1 secrecy because it's not a travel action. It's just I'm traveling. And then I move here, and now I can search. Now I can't use tactics or bonuses, but I can exhaust. I can throw away these 2 sparks, and I can roll 3 dice and do a search action in the ruins. I just need the search difficulty here is only a 4. But remember, I have a lot of other things I'm trying to get done there as well. I rolled a 1, 3, 5. So I got 1 success. I rolled a 5 plus, and I rolled a 4 plus. So I'm going to trigger all of these. So this gets covered up with one of these keys. Since the whole card is covered up, it just gets taken off the board. So that's 3 clues. That gets me up to 10. I rolled a 5. I get another 3 clues. I get up to 13. And then this is going to get re-randomized. It goes into 1. I'll put it up here. And then instead of drawing any cards, I will draw 0 cards. And Does that make sense? Yeah, I'll prevent the blight. I won't draw any cards, and since I drew one fewer card, I just put one of these tokens there. Since I have one success, I only need one success. I successfully completed Dark Seed, and the blight goes back down to 5, which isn't great for Fade to Black, but one less blight on the board could actually be really helpful. So good job, Ranger. That track action is really nice. Boredom Gamer, what is this massive madness? How are you, Greg? What's up, Jeff? How are you doing, man? Um, yeah, this is Darkest Night, man. It's you're controlling 4 characters, and you're basically trying to find clues to get a holy relic so you can defeat the Necromancer. It's it's pretty generic in a lot of ways, but very, very beloved solo game for sure. I am now going to do the Acolytes turn. Last but not least, Acolyte is not in a place with a Holy Relic. No one is in a place with a Holy Relic. No, wait. Gotta be one. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm sorry, there's a Holy Relic right there. So let me kind of read up on that real quick. Make sure I'm doing this right. I didn't get to the Holy Relic stage of things in my last couple of games. So the Holy Relic. Where are you? So I can spend 10 clues as an action to take a Holy Relic from my location. You lose 1 secrecy at the start of your turn while carrying a Holy Relic. Does not count as using a Holy Relic. It is optional. And you lose 1 secrecy if another hero gives you a Holy Relic. This only applies when receiving a relic directly from the hero, not when initially discovering one or picking one up as stored at a monastery. So if I had it... Now, the Holy Relic's like any item, so items can only be used once a turn, so it's not like I can try to attack the Necromancer. If I fail, I can give the Holy Relic to somebody else. But when you have a Holy Relic, it's +1 on all of your... Add 1 to your highest die in fights. So again, the Necromancer's fight value is a 7. So the Holy Relic, you need to roll a 6 and have the Holy Relic to have that +1 in the fights. I actually think the Acolyte has a card that gives him +1 in fights as well. But it is kind of opening the door now. So if we grab this Holy Relic, move to the village, the Necromancer gets to the village, it kind of puts us in a strong spot. He has no darkness cards out yet, so that makes life a lot easier for sure. So I think that makes the most sense. I think it makes the most sense to leave the Acolyte where he is. We're going to draw an event card. Close call. Roll 1 die, take the highest. The darkness slips quietly between the trees. You slowly resume your breathing. I rolled a 5. No effects. I've been rolling well on the event cards at least, that's for sure. And then we're just going to meditate and get a spark. More dice I have to roll, the better for what I want to accomplish next. Put all the action tokens here. We add 1 darkness that gets us up to 6. We add things on the board. We add the 4th one to Secret Convoy. That adds a darkness. We're up to 7. We add the 3rd one to Evil Chant. We're all going to lose a grace when that hits, so that's not great. We're going to do the Secrecy Roll for the Necromancer. He rolls a 2. Doesn't see anybody that way, but the 2 moves him to the ruins. And while in the ruins, we're gonna add another blight. We're going to get corruption. So that's the end of that deck. That's going to need to be re-rolled. No bonuses there. Fight with 4. I think if I get everyone to the village, that's my best chance to try to pull this off next turn or within a couple of turns. Like this has actually gone fairly well. Porter Gamers is crazy. Yeah, it's a good one, dude. Yeah, what's your so for those who don't know, Boardroom Gamer, we did an Arkham, we did Dunwich. It was like a Kachi and who are you, Rex, and that freaking annoying curse. Yeah, back in the day. Boardroom Gamer has a channel, definitely check him out. Very, very high production value. Probably a lot higher than what I got going on here. He's got some really cool equipment, and he's done if anyone knows Broken Meeple, he's definitely done some top 10s of Broken Meeple that are worth checking out. Some live streams there. So it's funny watching those two banter back and forth. All right. What am I doing? I'm going to try to get everyone to the village. I think this is my best chance to kind of pull this off. The village is nice and clean, and when everyone's there, we'll have a real shot to kind of take this down. So I'm going to go with the ranger first. What is the event? Desperate bargain. I could choose one. Destroy a blight in any location, draw a power card, or raise my secrecy. No default. Oh, 2 default. My default's 7. Then spend 1. Spend 2 grace, discard an item, or +1 darkness. Don't really care about destroying a blight in any location right now. I'll draw. Man, I think I draw a power card because I just think that could be the most helpful, and I just add 1 to the darkness. I'm not that excited about getting a darkness card, but I think that'll be fine. Like, I just don't know where I would destroy a blight that makes any sense. I kind of want the Necromancer to teleport because I really just want him to go to the village at this point. So I'll draw a card I think that'll be the most useful. It's Hermit. When in the swamp, you are never detected by the Necromancer. You ignore Blight's effects, including corruption. You do not draw events, and you may pray. Okay. Not going to be that great, so maybe that wasn't the right choice. I think I would have rather draw a power card for somebody else for sure. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to spend, I'm going to just add 1 darkness so we get up to 8. And now the ranger is going to move to the village, gets +1 secrecy, it's at 5. We're going to do the druid's turn. The druid gets a ritual. I may spend a grace and lose a secrecy to cancel this event. Count the blights in your location. There are 4. I would add a darkness. As you draw closer, the chanting reaches a crescendo. They haven't seen you yet. I mean, I don't know how much I want to push that. 1 more die for the Acolyte, though, could be nice. I will not cancel this. Let's go +1 darkness. And then the druid's going to move. He's going to get to the village. The whole gang's going to be together, kids. And then we're going to pull this event for the channeler. Dead Servant, compared to Secrecy. Secrecy is a 4. Archer, I'm facing an archer. Fight a 4, elude a 4. If I fail, I lose a grace. The Rotten Smell informs you that this one, like most of the Necromancer's minions, has been dead for some time. I can elude with 3 dice. I rolled a 4, 5, 2, so I succeed. And then the channeler is going to move into the village, gets a secrecy back up to 5. And now we do the Acolytes event. Anathema, it loses a grace down to 1. An ache in your stomach, an ache in your gut, a rot in your soul, a stain the color of lost innocence. Great. So that's not amazing. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to meditate and get a spark. We go to the Necromancer's turn. So the Necromancer gets to 10. That's going to trigger some things. We get a darkness card. Ooh. And just looking at Evil Chant. Evil Chant could be super bad for the Acolyte. He might have to go to the monastery. Need some health back for real. Alright. Anchor. When the Necromancer leaves a location with no heroes, activate in that location. A success when fighting the Necromancer has no effect unless there's a hero in this location. Oof. Okay. So I think we had that. That's crazy with all these cards. I think that's what came up in the one I recorded too. So you'll see how that works out in a second. That won't be that bad really. I could just put the Druid over there and that'll be fine. So now we're going to do the Secrecy Roll. I kind of want the Necromancer to see me, or at least roll a 3 and a 5. It rolls a 1, does not see anybody. Okay, it's going to move back here. It needs to add a blight. It can't add a blight here because it's already filled up with 4. So instead, it's going to add a blight in the monastery. Oh, that's not the right card. Sorry about that. I need to reshuffle the map cards. So the goal is Rex. So the goal is live. Yeah, I mean, this game this game is a little risky to do live for sure. This has actually been nice. A lot of times not a lot of, this game could definitely devolve into like hours of searching for clues and not getting very far. So it's been nice to actually have a playthrough where we got a fair amount done already. Now the question is, can we get it to come together for this final showdown with the Necromancer? I'm going to need to get my Acolyte in a place where I can go try to save him. He needs to get some health back for sure. So what am I putting in the monastery? Oh, the Necromancer left the ruin, so now the anchor is now active. Oh, shoot. I lied about the ranger. The ranger didn't move. The ranger spent 10 clues to get the holy relic. I needed to do that. Sorry about that. So now the ranger has a holy relic, and he'll start losing secrecy every turn. So did he gain secrecy when he moved? I don't think he did. I don't think he did. I think he was already at 5, so he didn't gain anything when he moved. If someone remembers that if he was at 4 and gained it up to 5, just let me know. I don't think it's gonna matter because as soon as he moves, what I could do is just have the Druid get it because the Druid was there too, and the Druid definitely was F. Why is everybody exactly F5? I think the Druid did gain. Yeah, I just forgot to grab someone needed to grab the relic. Or I could have done actually. We'll put them both at 4. We'll just do it this way. The Druid would have grabbed it. We would have spent the harp to refresh everyone's powers. And then I could have exhausted pathfinding and moved that way. And now we're all there, and it just makes it a little bit neater. And I can't remember who was at 5, who was at 4. In essence, I don't think it matters. Just to be safe, I'll put them both at 4. Just to make it a little cleaner. Because I can't remember who would have moved up or who wouldn't have. Alright, so sorry about that. So I have to add a blight to the monastery. Like, pick up the holy relic, dude. Otherwise, you can't do much. And the monastery gets a corruption. There are no more corruptions available, so the monastery gets a terror. There are no more terrors available, so the monastery gets a terror. So, like, literally has never happened. Oh, that's ridiculous. Alright, if you rare case, you draw 3 consecutive map cards and out of tokens for all of them, create any blight of your choice. What do I want to put there? I will put I'll try to put something that's we're actually in play this game. Put something that's on the board. +2, well, that's a lose a turn. That's bad. Bonuses. Corruption. Exhaust all powers. Necromancer. Confusion. No tactics. I will put I'll just put a confusion. That's fine. Not doing any tactics there anyway. Alright. So refreshing all of these. Was the goal here to live or something specific? The goal here is to kill the Necromancer. You need to you need to get the holy relic, and you need to roll a 6 when attacking the Necromancer, and that's about the only way you can. That is the only way you can win. So this anchor's in play. That's fine. So my turn. I'm about to lose. Oh, I had to add a thing there. I did forget that, so that's up to 4. And the Yeah, because I was looking at that, and that was going to be problematic for sure. So yeah, I pulled the anchor, and that's what made me forget that. So I know when that hits 5, we're all losing a grace, and that could be really bad for the Acolyte. So the Acolyte is gonna go first. Definitely don't want to have someone die on me here. So the Acolyte can lose Dark Scrying. You feel the spell cooling and coiling around you, wrapping tighter with each pass. Soon he will know precisely where you are. I can spend a grace or lose to secrecy. I'll obviously lose to secrecy. And then we're going to move with the Acolyte into the monastery and get one of those secrecies back. We're going to do the Druid's turn. The Druid has the Holy Relic, so he's going to lose a secrecy off the bat. We're going to draw an event card. It's lose another secrecy, so he's down to 2. Draw a quest and roll 1 die to determine its location. And then add a thing. The rider made excellent time. He also left a trail clear enough for even a zombie to follow him. So the Thieves' Den comes into play. It comes into play in 2. 2 is down here. And it's an elude action. If you succeed, you get 1 success. You get a treasure chest. If it expires, we get a darkness. A band of thieves have made off with many of the town's valuables, steal them back, and cement the people's support. We're going to put a thing on there. This is the Druid's turn. The Druid is just going to search. We need a 3 or higher. Nope, he rolls a 2. Because I'm really good at rolling dice. Oh, wait. +1 to your highest I've been fighting. Yep, that's about how that went. So I'm basically going to let the Druid's secrecy go down so then I can give this to somebody else. I think that just makes the most sense right now. We're going to the Channeler. The Channeler gets Shambling Horror. Compared to Secrecy, or Secrecy is a 5. I'm fighting a Mummy. Fight value of a 6, elude value of a 4. If I fail, I lose a grace. Its joints bend the wrong way, making an unsettling noise that searches for a life on which to feed. I'm going to try to elude with 3 dice. I rolled a 4 and a 6, so I succeed twice, so that's good. She's going to search. She gets +1 to her highest die when searching, so I need a 2 or higher. I rolled a 2 because the difficulty is a 3, so 2 + 1, I get a 3. So map, village, we get Cursed Ashes. Discard during your turn to ignore the effects of blights for the rest of the turn. Not the most helpful thing to get. So that's an item. And finally, we have the Ranger. Ranger could move somewhere else if it wanted to. It could move to any location, including the monastery, which is interesting. The Ranger's up against a Shadow Sight. Roll 1 die and pick 1. It's a 1. Exhaust a power if possible. Ranger will go ahead and exhaust track. We're not going to be doing much searching the rest of the game. And I'm going to meditate with the Ranger, give him another die. Oh, by the way, when this reached 10, which it did, we drew the Darkness card. We also should have drawn a Mystery card because of the Book of Mysteries. Common Cause, there is Strength and Unity. Strength and Unity, we get another clue from that. There is Strength and Unity. By coming together in common cause, you can accomplish things none of you could do alone. I'm going to roll and put this in 3. 3 is down here in the forest. So lots of interesting things there. If there's 2 heroes there at once, we get a clue. If there are 3 heroes there at once, we get a clue. If there are 4 heroes there at once, we get Inspiration. Inspiration is every hero draws a power card. So tempting. It would have been great if we had that earlier, but just kind of something else to make the board really crowded. Now, that's all of our hero actions. We go to the Necromancer's turn. The Necromancer is going to add a darkness, or up to 11. Adding a thing there. That's going to be 5, so we all lose 1 grace. So Acolytes down to 0, 3, 4, and 2. This comes off. We also add another one here to the Thieves' Den. We're going to do a secrecy roll. If I roll a... well, we'll see what I roll. I rolled a 5. Don't necessarily... that's 5. 5 will move him here. I don't necessarily want him in the village now because the Acolyte's not there, so I am going to exhaust after a Necromancer's movement to prevent him from detecting all heroes regardless of secrecy. And we're going to now move the Necromancer over to the um, the ruins, and we're going to put another light there. In the ruins, we're getting a Spectres. I really can't have the Acolyte kick it on me, so that's a problem. The Necromancer will probably be in the village, but I think we'll be able to set it up pretty easily to defeat him in 2 rounds. Well, easily is relative. So, we're going to go to my turn. The Druid, my turns. The Druid loses another Secrecy because it still has the Holy Relic. It's going to draw an event card. Startling news, add a thing to a quest already in play. So that's going to trigger the end of this round. It's, again, startling news. It's impossible to get consistent reports these days. When the news finally reaches you, it catches you offhand. Oh no. Wait, off guard. Not offhand. Be different. We're going to search. It's funny that we never use misform. Like literally, the Druid has never taken damage or a wound. He's spent grace, but he's never taken a wound. We're going to go ahead and we're going to search with the Druid. He rolls a 1, so I did not successfully search in the village. The Acolyte does not need to draw an event card because it's in the monastery. We are going to do a pray action. So I'm going to roll 3 dice actually. So I'm going to spend one of these sparks. And for each thing, a 3 or higher, I can get a grace back up to my default. My default's only 3. So I'm rolling 3 dice. It's 2 naturally whenever you do a pray action. You can only do this in the monastery, except the ranger also had the ability to pray in the ruins. No, in the swamp, I think it was. In the swamp? Yeah. So I also refreshed my powers as part of the pray action. And I rolled a 1, 2, and a 1. So I successfully got no grace back. You've got to be kidding me. That's really bad. Wow. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I really can't lose the Acolyte. That makes me very not happy. Shoot. It's like one of those times where this game just starts to like ugh, we're there. Can we just like finish it, please? All right. Guarded Trove. I can fight against a 6 or elude against a 6. Lose 1 secrecy and draws a search result if I succeed. If I fail a fight, I lose a grace. If I fail an elude, I lose a secrecy and draw another event card. The clink of metal under the door. What could be worth so many guards? I will just go with a fight action. And yeah, it's not worth trying to do this elude at all. So I rolled. It's a 2. I fail. I take a damage. I don't want to draw another event card. Doesn't make any sense. What's the channeler going to do? She's going to search. I rolled a 4. I succeed. In the village, I get another mystery card. Just hoping to get some more powers here, but that's fine. I get two clues there. A local shrine has been overrun by monsters. If you can fight your way through, you might be able to recover some of the secret text. I roll. This goes in 2. That goes over. Is that down here? Yeah. Not going to really worry about that. And then finally, the ranger event card. Draw a quest and roll a die to determine its location. She delivers the news with somber face. Quest card. It's going to go where? I rolled a 5. It goes over here. Skeletal patrols. Skeletons are making increasingly bold forays into the area. Drive them off before they can establish a lasting foothold. If I win, I get a treasure chest. If it expires, we get a skeleton's blight. What's the ranger going to do? The ranger is just going to take a spark. These actions are done. So, Idiacal. could piece this together. I think I just take a shot at it at this point instead of just delaying this. So we get another darkness, we're up to 12. We add this here, we get another darkness, we're up to 13 because this expires. This gets 1. We do a secrecy roll. It's a 6. I do not want it to stay there, so it's gonna, the gate's still in play, it's gonna teleport, but it would have just moved there anyway. And now we're adding a blight. We're adding a blight into the village. It is the Revenants. So the Revenants have a defense of a 5, so we are definitely going to need to beat those guys. Alright, here's how I want to do this. I'm going to start with the Acolyte. Acolyte does not pull an event card. The Acolyte is going to move into the village. Now remember, the Scion Stone is on Final Rest, so that would give everyone else there an action, an ability to use the Final Rest card. The Druid 4 dice, 3 dice. Ooh, I could do the Astral Surge. Oh, 3 dice plus the. So I can do a 5 dice with the Ranger, Channeler. The problem is if I. Tactic. Trying to think who's best. You can only use one tactic at a time. So the question is, we can use the Final Rest tactic and the Astral bonus. Is that considered normal? Oh, this is where the Channeler is confusing. So that's a weird combination between the Final Rest and how the Channeler put together. She can't use normal effects when she's astral, so it's probably not worth it. If I exhaust this, I fight with 4 dice. Can I get a 5 or a 6 on one of them to defeat the Revenant? Then I move. I don't want to move with the Druid, because the secrecy means that if I don't succeed this turn, the Necromancer is definitely going that way, and I do not want that to happen. I want him to stay where the Druid is. So I think I have to fight with the Druid, but he's only going to have 3 dice, and he needs a 5 or higher. Alright, let's do that. Druid's going to go. We just didn't do anything with these astral things. So the Druid's event card is a demon. Compared to Secrecy, my Secrecy is a 1. I'm facing a deadly demon. I've already read that flavor text. I'm rolling. I need to defeat, try to elude a 5 or fight a 4. I'm going to try to fight a 4. I succeed. So that goes away. Now I'm going to have the Druid fight the Revenants. It's got to feed a 5, and I'm using the Scion Stone to have access to the Final Rest tactic. So I'm rolling 3 dice. I'm not using the Holy Relic this turn. I want to try to save that for the Ranger. So I need a 5 or higher with 3 dice. I rolled a 1, 4, 5. I attacked a Blight. The secrecy goes down to 0. I succeeded in defeating the Revenants. Revenants are out. Now remember, Anchor is in play, so I have to deal with that. So I'm going to do the Channeler's turn. Fissure loses a grace. She's down to 1. You may move to any location except the monastery. Corrosive magic has left a tear in the world, leading to everywhere and nowhere. So the Channeler is going to go through that fissure and end up over here. And now that we're satisfying anchor, so the ranger can go ahead and attack the necromancer. The I'm going to discard the cursed ashes to ignore the effects of blights for the rest of her turn, so she won't have to fight all these at the end of her turn, which is great. And on her turn, she will just, I think, just meditate and get a spark. She's basically there just to deal with the anchor, and I don't have to fight any of those again because we discarded the cursed ashes. And finally, we go to the ranger's turn. Roll 3 dice, then resolve, and then pick and resolve any 2. Well, don't roll 2 6s because I don't want to move to the monastery. Yeah, just don't roll 2 6s. The rest of this is fine. 4 4 2, so I'm going to resolve 2. I'll take a wound, and I will gain a secrecy. Oh wait, I rolled a 4 4 2. No, I will not take a wound. I'll gain 2 secrecy. Great. Now, my turn. I am taking the Holy Relic from the Druid. I lose a secrecy for that. And yeah, the Druid actually should have had 0 secrecy instead of 1. I don't think it mattered on his card. He should have had 0 secrecy because he should have lost 1 at the beginning of his turn. Yeah, it was still deadly, so that's fine. And now we're attacking the Necromancer with the Ranger. I'm going to discard both these sparks, and we're attacking with 3 dice with Poison Arrow. If I get a 6, I get both success and failure. Failure is going to mean that I'm going to take a damage, but that's totally fine. Yeah, every time you fight the Necromancer, if you fail, you take a damage. What's up? Daniel, hi there. Looks like you were just starting, right? Nope. This is one of my favorite games. The quality of the components, and the artwork and the rulebook make this one of the best bangs for your buck. So much content for 60. I paid at Amazon. Oh yeah, easy. Just don't roll 2 6s. Yeah, right. And with my normal rolling, I mean 2 1s is way more likely. So I'm rolling 5 dice. My highest die gets +1 to it because I am using the Holy Relic. So if I get 1 6, we manage to vanquish the Necromancer, and if I don't, I mean, this game's probably going to dissolve into utter crap, and it just is what it is. So give me 1 6. Hey! 2 2 3 5 6. We have rolled a 6. That is success and failure because of the poison arrow. And so that means I lose 1 damage, but I have managed to defeat the Necromancer because there are no more blights there, and anchor satisfied because the channeler is down in the ruins. Woo! That was felt a little bit like more like ABC than normal, but I'll take it for the live stream for sure. This is a nice combination of characters, and I do think it shows like when you're less likely to be in those places where you're just kind of stuck if you go ahead and actually choose your cards. The hardest thing that I had going for me going in was like, all right, I don't have anyone that's really great with searching, and none of them had really good cards for searching. The channeler had that +1 on search roll, so diffraction was fine. I was obviously rolling very poorly with her when it came to searching for a while, but being able to get this artifact, just adding more mystery cards. I mean, what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mystery cards on the board, like unresolved. I have no keys in any of them, so I was really just able to get just the base values on a lot of these mystery cards. I only fully satisfied the 1, and that was really able to give me enough clues. But I still don't understand like how you're getting to 30 clues in most games. It's just a really absurd number of clues to get the 3 relics. Again, to repeat, if you get 3 relics, you can go store them in the monastery. And if at any point you have 3 holy relics in the monastery, that's the other way that you win. It's the less tension filled, right? I mean, in some ways, it's like that. If you don't like games that culminate in like that one moment, right? If you're playing like Black Orchestra and it's all about that one roll where you need to kill Hitler, and the whole game's setting up that one roll. This is similar. And if you don't love that in your games, I totally get it. And I think that's where the challenge of like, all right, let me see if I can get 30 clues. I'm not even going to try to do that one roll. I'm going to see if I can survive long enough and move around the board and get 30 clues and get to the monastery. I mean, I know there's like some cards, like there's one mystery card where it's like you can basically spend a grace as an action to get 2 clues. So if you have someone that's like really good with healing, that could work out really well. If you have someone who's great with searching, well, this treasure hunt card would have been great. I mean, you just like, all right, I get 1 clue, and then I roll a 5, I get 3 more clues. I roll a 5, I get 3 more clues, and then you have the double benefit of not only getting the 3 clues for the treasure hunt, but also getting whatever you're getting from the map cards. Getting up to 4 powers for everybody. 4 powers minimum for everybody except the Druid was fine. But I was really like, all right, what if I failed? Let me make sure the Druid's still in the village because I didn't want the Druid to move here. And then all of a sudden the Necromancer moves there. Oh, and the one thing I didn't do as well is because they started their turn with the Necromancer, both the Channeler and the Ranger should have lost the secrecy. The Druid was already at 0, so it wouldn't have mattered. That does make actually the one thing that should have happened with the Druid while he was there is that he should have had a fight with the Necromancer, and he would have just lost. I would not have spent the thing on that, so he would have just lost a health. So he would not have pulled. He would not have pulled an event card. So that was one mistake I made with the rules, where since he would have been at 0 secrecy, because he would have lost 2 secrecy at the beginning of his turn, one for having the Holy Relic. Remember, I was just tanking his secrecy instead of tanking the Rangers. So he would have lost one for fighting the Holy Relic, for having the Holy Relic, and he would have lost another one for being where the Necromancer was, and would not have pulled the event card. So fortunately, none of these event cards mattered, right? I mean, I ultimately the channeler would have got the demon. It wouldn't have mattered. Then she could have just moved there instead of meditating, and then the ranger would have got fissure. He would have lost the health, but he would have still had the 1 health to spend. You do not die when you get to 0 health. You die when you're at 0 health and you take a wound, and that's what kills you. So that's also a rule I had wrong in this game for a while, which made it a lot more difficult, especially for guys like the acolyte. Well, again, the acolyte's chilling here on 0 health, so I guess that was pretty obvious by this point. Dan Spice says, "Whoo!" I like it. I like it. It's well said. It's a very carefully articulated sentence that I can wholeheartedly get behind. So this is it. This is Darkest Night. It's again like you can just I don't know. You just rarely can feel like the care and level of crafting that goes into a game on this level. It just has a really nice something. There's like an ambiance that comes out, just exudes from the game. I think Spirit Island is like one of the few games I just you can just feel like every single little detail was crafted in this very very careful way that just makes like this super interesting immersive experience. There are things about like again that black orchestra mechanic about this that I'm like, all right, like I've done it a few times that I'm like, I don't know if this is a forever game for me, but I don't know if it needs to be either. I mean, I think that B Downing is totally right that for when you can find this is a hard game to find for a lot of people. The fact you got it for 60 on Amazon, I'd love to know when that was. I'm guessing that was years ago because it's very hard to find now unless there's been a change in availability I don't know about. I mean, I got mine secondhand on Board Game Geek for about 70 or 80. And I'm very happy with the purchase, and that included shipping. So I forget what it was list price. I think it was like 50 list, and then I had to get the shipping at like another 20 or 30 because it was coming from California. So like shipping is expensive. Um, it's definitely worth it. I mean, I think the idea with board games that we put this onus on board games that we expect them to like be forever games. Like if I can't play this forever, it's not worth getting. And like I just don't think that's true. Like because how many books have you reread? But you love those books, right? How many movies have you rewatched that you love? And I think that it's important to remember that it's hey, like sometimes it's just worth the experience. Or with the exit games or like that for me. Obviously, you're not replaying those. You're not replaying a lot of legacy games, but the experience is super cool. And I think that there's something like Darkest Night. It's like I've gone through all the content, I've seen all the characters, and I really like it. I like the puzzles, I like the interplay, but in a world with limited time and a bunch of games, I don't know how much this makes it to the table for me. And at some point, it might be worth putting it on to somebody else who's going to enjoy it more than I do. Having gone through the exploration with it, but it's a very very cool game, and I could definitely see people saying this is the game for me, and I could play this forever, and who like the more methodical, kind of thinky, careful planning when you feel like you're plodding along a little bit because you only have one action a turn. I just, it's so like That's it. That's all you get. I mean, which again is similar to Dawn of the Zeds, right? But Dawn of the Zeds is a little bit more freeing because you have group actions that you can spend on the group in addition to some personal actions. Like this is much more limiting. It's like, no, you do one thing, you do one thing, you do one thing, you do one thing, which is why the Rangers cards where it's like, well, I can do a move action and bring everybody with me. Well, that's virtually the equivalent of 4 actions if you're moving everybody, right? So that's huge. That's really helpful. Or the track skill, the track power card, the track. Yeah, that it's like I can move and search. It's like Christmas. I get to do 2 things. What? That's bananas. Like it's so cool. And we try to use all that to our advantage for sure. But I don't know. I'm kind of yammering a little bit. I mean, it's fun. Definitely, you can tell it's a good game. Like I feel like more. I've definitely won games on live before. I'm like, okay, whatever, that was a win. But this game, when you win, it's like exciting because you have to roll that 6. It has to come together. It's like it creates that moment. Assuming you get that far. We definitely got a little bit lucky with that darkness card. I'm not gonna. That was like okay, not that bad. I mean, all seeing eye, heroes in the necromancer's location, combat him instead of drawing an event, even if their secrecy is not 0. That's crazy. Wouldn't have mattered that much. Desolation. When the Necromancer ends a turn at a location with 2 or more heroes, and this card is not active on any of them, activate on a random hero at a location. Other heroes lose 1 grace when ending a turn at this hero's location. Wow. Deactivated this hero praise. Okay. There's some really fun darkness cards, and some of them are just absolutely brutal. The one game I had going into this, it was like you placed if the secrecy roll is a 5 or a 6, you placed 2 blights instead of 1, and I just got totally overrun with blights in the monastery after like 3 or 4 rounds because I still didn't even have 10 clues at that point. The thing with Anchor that's tricky is that it just gave us no margin, especially because I tried to get health to the Acolyte. It didn't work, right? But I tried. That the Acolyte had a move. I had to defeat that Blight with the Druid. I had to move the Channeler here, and then I had a chance to kill the Necromancer. Where if I didn't have to worry about Anchor, well, if the Druid failed to defeat the Revenants, I think it was Revenants, then at least I could have had a second shot with the Channeler, and I could have made her Astral. I mean, it's absolutely crazy that she never went Astral. It's also crazy that I never used Mystiform, but I could have done the Surge, fought with 3 dice, and her Spark, so she would have had a better chance of actually defeating the Revenants than even the Druid did. And then I went ahead and again I rolled with 5 dice over here with the Ranger. It is nuts how the Acolyte kind of got marginalized. I was really trying to set him up for the biggest role because he had the +1 die because of Fade to Black. He had what's that? What are you called? He had a spark on him. I spent 1 spark to try to get him some health back, but it just wasn't meant to be with him for sure. B Downing, this game makes you feel the game. Maybe 2, 3 years ago, that makes sense. After a few games, I stopped shuffling my darkness cards just to make sure I see them all. Yeah, that's smart. That's really smart. I think that's a good idea. I mean, you can stop shuffling the artifact cards. You can stop shuffling the darkness cards. You can stop shuffling the mystery cards. I mean, like, there's so many freaking cards. Like, the only decks you're going to get through, well, at some point you get to renewal or respite, right? Or respite, respite. I can speak. At some point you get the renewal or respite that you shuffle these, but you'll see all these cards eventually after a few games. I mean, you just pull so many of them, and you'll see all the map cards. But the rest of these decks are just absolutely bananas. I mean, you could even go so far as like, well, now it's hard because you're shuffling the starting cards. I mean, I swear there's power cards that I'll never see if even if I play this game 100 more times because there's so many heroes, there's so many power cards, you get so few a game, it's just absolutely nuts. Boardroom Gamer says, good catching you live, sir. Good game. Thank you, sir. Great to see you as well. After or a few games, I stopped shuffling my deck. Yeah, you said that. I obviously fangirl this game. Absolutely. I definitely see that. No, it's really good. It's really good, and especially the more like if you like that theme and the Necromancer and like the holy relics and monasteries and like I think the more you know about like D&D or like just some of these character archetypes, they're all really really interesting. I mean, you have your tamer, you have your bard, you have your knight. They're all just super interesting. Your like kind of scholars and your magician kind of people, and they're all like they're all again interesting. It's a word I've probably said too many times, but they come together in some very very unique ways and can make for some very very cool moments as you try to puzzle together how they all work to get the win. So, yep, sorry about that. A couple of rules mistakes there at the end. Just got a little sloppy with the Necromancer. Just note again, the Druid wanted to pull the card because he would have lost the Secrecy and been down to 0. He would have just had to fight the Necromancer. He would have taken a damage. That's fine. The Channeler and the Ranger both should have lost the Secrecy when they started their turn. And again, the Ranger did lose the Secrecy when he grabbed the Holy Relic, so I did get that correct. And again, I only moved the Acolyte in there to give the Druid access to the final rest tactic because of the Scion Stone. I'm not sure. I don't think the Channeler, if she went Astral, I don't think she would have been able to use the final rest because when she's Astral, I think she only can use Astral powers. So I think if she stayed normal, she could have used that, but then she would have had no other bonuses. So I don't think that would have been great for her. And besides, I did want to get her to be the one to take care of the anchor ability. So that's it. I am yammering. I could talk about this game for a while. It's super interesting. I am very interested in playing Nemo's War once that arrives, and obviously my love for Zeds is well documented. I mean, Zeds is still, this game's fun. This game's cool. Zeds is still a bit more of a game for me. Except, I mean, this game does probably have a more satisfying ending, right? I mean, Zeds is like you survived, hey, game's over, and you just kind of write the narrative, and magically the National Guard got in there and saved the day, right? This game, at least you have that moment where you're officially vanquishing the Necromancer. And we got a bit lucky that the village always ended up being the obvious spot. Like, this game was going to end in the village. It was no doubt that, like, because this was overrun, the voids were going to make those two really hard. And then remember, the Necromancer spent the first 3 turns, I think, over in the swamp. So this was the place where we were going to set up camp and just be able to kind of bring it all to an end. So that ending is like super satisfying. When you win a game of Darkest Night, it just feels like that moment is cool because you're 5 dice. Can I roll a 6 with 5 dice? Odds are decent. I don't know how great they are. I mean, they're more than 50%, I think, with 5 dice coming. But it's you can easily imagine not rolling a 6 with 5 dice like that. I mean, this is 1, 2, 2, 4, 4. So, and then what? Then you're like, well, now things are going to be in trouble because now the Necromancer is going to create another blight there. We're all going to lose a ton of secrecy. I already had the Ranger down at 0 health, right? So there's a chance he dies. If a hero dies, you basically have to bring another hero in, but they have 1 less default secrecy, 1 less default health. They have 1 less starting power card, and then you're kind of, back to the drawing board for sure. B Down says, I haven't played that one yet, but always hear good things. Dan Spice, the thought that went into the character design and possible combos is impressive. Yeah, I agree with that. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Just years. I mean, this game just exudes the fact that this dude developed this game. What was it, Jeremy Leinert, I think? Leonard? I mean, he's years and years and years of development. And like a second edition, yeah, I guess it was like the first edition and then a ton of expansions, and then they just made like the monster edition. This like pretty much is the ultimate edition of this game, from what I understand. I think it's Jeremy Leonard. It's not on the cover of the rulebook, which is a little unfortunate, but I'm pretty sure that's right. Here you go. Lead designer Jeremy Leonard, and proofreaders, playtesters. Interesting. Yeah, there's Avalon Emmerich. Wonder if is that Alan's like nickname, or is Alan his real name Avalon? That's interesting. Yeah, Emmerich is, I know he was huge in the production of Dawn of the Zeds, and he was like, I think, the lead designer of some of the expansion stuff. Phoenix Knight, speaking for myself, I didn't like this game. Maybe it was just my playthrough, but it felt like a slog to get through. Plus, the gameplay didn't really make sense to me. Yeah, Eric, Phoenix Knight, I believe Eric. Yeah, that's fair. The slog. This is definitely a game where, as I was talking about earlier, it's uneven in that you'll have some games where you just can't get clues. Like, I had a game with a friend. I played this with a friend once. Other than that, it's always been a solo experience for me. And we got up to like 8 clues and just like 13 rounds of just trying to get 2 more clues. It just is like, oh, I think even my recorded playthrough was a similar slog. I mean, slog is definitely the word, where you're just kind of like, all right, nothing's happening, and the story's not really advancing much, and you're just like kind of going through the motions, just hoping to get lucky. I kept doing searches and I was doing searches in the ruins and I just wasn't getting clues, and it got really frustrating. Um, in some ways, it adds to the game. I don't. It's like the argument: is it a feature or a bug? You know, and I think that it depends on what you're looking for in a game. If you want a game that's going to be guaranteed action and excitement, this isn't that. I mean, this is a game where it's like, hey, get yourself a deep pour of bourbon or whiskey or your drink of choice, and like just kind of go through the story. Um, there's just a lot of interesting touches to the game, and I think when the flavor text is all really well done, and the characters are all really well done, and the different quests are interesting, the mysteries are interesting. I mean, the world building that's here is really interesting, but I could definitely see it's like this is such a freaking grind. It's like, like a movie that's an hour too long, right? It's like I like it, but why? I do wish there was like a default action that like, you know, you could, if you do a search, you could always, instead of getting what you got, you could always choose as a default to get one clue or something like that. I think that could really help make sure that you're always kind of moving the game forward. As far as I understand the gameplay, I can get that too. I mean, the rulebook's pretty good. I like rulebooks that are just like point by point linear. Like that works better for my brain and how I understand games and how I learn games. Like I love the Maze Knight rulebook because I just think it's so well written for me. I know for a lot of people it just doesn't work, and they think it's awful. Just the organization could be a little bit better. But I just love that rulebook. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think once you understand it's like the gameplay, then there's a lot of like fiddly rules that you're probably gonna get things wrong. Like again, I'm not sure what I did with the secrecy, and there might have been off one or two there. But in the end, they're all minor. I don't think any of them had a major effect in the final result. Well, especially assuming, considering I rolled what I rolled with those last few rolls there to kill the blight and kill the necromancer. So, B downing, I felt that as well, since some character combos can be tough. Yeah, like there are some characters. I'm sure, like if you go on BGG, I'd be wondering if there's any like recommended character combinations for first time play. Um, I definitely had some games where I was just like, ugh. I mean, if you don't have at least one starting character that has like one really good fight card, you're in trouble. And by a good fight card, I mean a fight card that's rolling at least 3 dice. I was fortunate that I had two starting characters that had good fight cards, because you are going to need to start taking down some of these blights right off the bat, and you have to get yourself into the castle, the ruins, or the swamp, or the village, at least, where you can just really start doing a lot of searching. That was the limitation I had here, but I was able to get lucky in getting some other ways of getting mystery cards out. Like that artifact, like I already mentioned. And the only bonus I had to search was the fraction, which is pretty weak in the grand scheme of things. You'll usually have at least one character that's rolling 2 or 3 dice for searches to get more to get yourself jump started, to get more powers, etc. But the development's slow. I mean, this is not a fast developing game by any means, for sure. Uh, I personally feel that the indiscriminate gamer did this game a huge disservice with his review, and it is evident he didn't play it enough. I don't know that channel, so I can definitely check that out. But I've obviously I felt that way a lot about other games and other channels. So, uh, you know, like there were some reviews of Descent that I thought were absolute trash. There was a review of Too Many Bones, which I thought was super lazy. So from some big channels, and I just don't. Look, I mean, I have my problems with every game I just mentioned. I have my problems with, but I just they're games I love, right? There is no perfect game out there, at least as far as I'm concerned. But there it's definitely interesting. This is not a game where you can play once or twice and have a well-formed opinion. I think until you're like, all right, like play 4, 5, 6 games, different characters, experience more of the content, and once you understand it, I could definitely see people doing that, but like I don't like it. But I think you have to appreciate the artistry, right? Just compared to so many games, like that are just thrown together. Like I mean, I don't know, man. Like you got your Zombicides, you have your games that serve different roles in the industry, right? You have your games that are just like beer and pretzels, go kill some monsters. Like this is not that. This is a much more methodical kind of plotting experience. But again, I think that's a feature, not a bug for sure. For sure. Dan Spice, thanks for playing it, recording it for us. We appreciate it. You're welcome, man. Thank you for enjoying this. Like. I learned about this from a patron. A patron, Josh, was the first to mention it to me, and I'm very glad he did. Even if it doesn't end in my collection long term, like has been a really fun game for me to kind of go to and learn, put on the channel, and then I was on the fence about doing it again, and I was like, you know what, I want to get this on the channel one more time. I just really feel like I owed it to the game in a way. Not that the first playthrough was bad, I just want to give this game more attention because I just love so much about it, and I think it is so unique. So I'm happy to kind of feature a wider array of games than I was able to only a year ago. I've just been able to get a lot more games on the channel in the last 12 months, which has been great. B Downing, it was years ago, and he didn't like the one action per player. Yeah, it's grindy. I mean, I get that. It's fair. But it's the game, right? Like, I mean, if you give each player two actions, I think this game becomes super easy, right? And it also puts such a huge level of tension on each action because if you fail like a fight, well, we didn't have a lot of enemies, but if you fail a fight against the specters, well, shoot, well now they have a defense value. You lose a grace, and then at the end of your turn, you have to fight or evade them again. And if you fail that test, you're losing another grace. I mean, it really starts to stack, and it makes you have to be so careful about the choices you're making. And I mean, I ran into that where I brought everyone to the ruins with what I think I brought the acolyte to the ruins with the ranger, and then I realized, wait, that one action does not have an upside. That I'd be better off just staying in the castle, and I kind of went back and did a little revisionist history and just kind of changed my actions, and then proceeded to roll a one with the ranger when I tried to search the castle, which was super fun because that's what I do. But that was definitely the right call. But you have to think about that action, and it just puts a lot more onus. You cannot waste actions in this game. You just can't. You can play the math and you can get unlucky and you can lose. You can spend actions that don't succeed, but you have to you have to be calculating that risk reward every time, because if you don't, all of a sudden you just wasted 2 rounds and you're just going to get more blight on the board and you haven't accomplished anything. You've got no clues, and you're just going to be in trouble. And hopefully the math usually will even itself out in the end. And he probably played with too many people, so the downtime can be rough. Oh yeah, I think this is like Zed's. Like I wouldn't want to play this more than one again. I mean, I would with like certain of my friends who want to experience it. I didn't have a bad experience with my friend. We just had a really long slog of a game, and he loved it though. He really liked it. The theme really worked for him, and we had a really good time with it. But we definitely had like the last 45 minutes were just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. We just couldn't get this one clue. And it kind of dragged. But yeah, this is the game I think shines more solo. And the fact that there's only one action around, I mean, if you're playing solo, you're more like, well, it's really 4 actions. And you just have to use them on your different characters. And I think that's where like Zed's, comes into play as well, where it's like, yeah, you have a bunch of heroes in play, but Zed's is a little more free, where I could spend all my player actions on one character with a few exceptions. And I think that system's a little bit more open. But I think if you did that here, you would end up. I think it would do the game a disservice because the characters are so different and they all have so many different actions, and the strategic planning would get a little bit cheesed. That the fact that you're forced to deal with each character individually every round, I think, is a big part of the ecosystem of the game from an action economy standpoint, right? And I think that works really well for it. Yeah, look, I love this game. It's weird to like. I don't know if I'm gonna have it forever because there's just so much time, and I need to, I need I need to make room on my shelves. Um, but I really do love a lot about what this game is and what it represents, and we'll see if I get it on the channel again in the future. I'll be really curious. I think when Nemo's War comes out. I mean, I'll probably go ahead if I hold on to this until I get Nemo's War and then decide. I mean, again, do I really need Nemo's War, Zed's, and this? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Not enough time in the day to be playing all these games, but You know, for now, what I do know is that this dude is vanquished. If you want to see what's coming up in solo playthroughs land, you can go on my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. I put a schedule up about a week before every month, and then in that schedule it just says like the schedule for the month. So like right now the month of March is up, and then I have a sneak peek, not a sneak peek. I don't know what that is. A sneak peek at what's coming up in the month of April. So be sure to check that out. I don't remember what I'm doing live next week. Let me check my schedule really quick. My schedule for next week is... Nope. Ooh, I'm doing Too Many Bones, Tantrum against Duster, so I'll be doing that live on Sunday. Well, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. It just depends on how quickly I can get it edited. I'll be releasing my first playthrough of Champions of Horror. Speaking of an under heralded game, that game is really good. I really, really like that game. So I got my first playthrough of that coming out, so check that out. And, you know, I have more thoughts about that, but I'll just leave that for the video. But yeah, horror is really interesting. So excited to get that out. But yeah, we'll have a string of new 2 solo playthroughs games coming up. So we got Champions of Horror, Baseball Highlights 2045. We got a Final Girl playthrough. We have a Root playthrough. A couple more Space Empires 4X. I mean, there's a bunch of games that I have been really able to learn and just start churning out new videos. So I've been super excited about that prospect, and I'll be doing a lot of like the standard the games that I love. Will be doing a lot of live playthroughs of that. So Too Many Bones, Cloudspire, for the Chip Theory game stuff. We got Mage Knight, we got more Spirit Island. I got a double header of Arkham Horror planned at the end of the month with Barkham Horror for the April Fools thing. Their little April Fools side project. I'll be doing that, and then I have a playthrough of the Blob that ate everything. So that'll be really fun. So a lot of things I'm really excited about with solo playthroughs. If you're checking out the schedule on the Patreon page, if you're there and you want to check out the options for supporting this channel, I could always use the extra support. That'd be great. Other than that, likes, comments, I appreciate all of it. Any questions or thoughts about this particular game or things I missed or rules I missed, whatever, put that all in the comment section below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Let me check the chat one more time. True solo for that reason, and be down next to the can't wait for my shipping notification for Nemo's War as well. Yes, when is that going to come? I need my shipping notification for Return to Dark Tower, which I'm not sure if I should be excited about or not, based on some early things about that in True Solo, but we'll see. It might be a game where you have to play multiple characters. I need to test that out. I'm excited for that, and I'm very excited for Nemo's War, which I think should be those are the next 2 I think I have coming, right? I think everything else is a few months away. So, but yeah, that'll be really, really cool. So I appreciate that. Thank you for joining me in the chat. Always great to have an active chat with a lot of thoughts. And so join me next week if you can, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time as normal. And until next time, happy gaming.